Hey, in the immortal words of Judy Brown, happiness is a choice. We're happy you're spending some time with us, Chip and Zay, right here on Texas Sports Unfiltered, taking it down in the midday. Zay,
What's happening?
how is your Tuesday?
Not too shabby, man. Can't complain one bit. Feeling good, feeling great. Chip, how are you?
Oh man, ready to rumble. Texas and Georgia. We are hearing from the Georgia coaches, players. Well, we heard from Kirby yesterday, Georgia players today. We'll see what they have to say. And you know, we're sizing up the matchups. And I think it's interesting because you look at Gunnar Stockton, the quarterback of the Georgia Bulldogs, who has thrown for 15 touchdowns with only 2 interceptions. He's completing 69.4% of his passes. And when he's been needed late in games against Tennessee, Ole Miss, Florida, the guy has come through. So, does Georgia have Texas to thank for knocking Carson Beck out of the SEC championship game and getting the Gunnar Stockton era going?
Maybe. I mean, you could say that. That's for sure. Because Carson Beck, all we heard beginning of the 2024 season was, oh, this guy's going to be the 2025 number 1 draft pick. This guy's going to win the Heisman. He's going to light it up and lead Georgia back to another national championship. And Georgia's schedule has been hard the last 2 years. Like, you think about the games they've played, and for them to get to the SEC championship game last year, very impressive. And for them to be where they are right now with a chance to make the college football playoff and get to the SEC championship again with this schedule, very damn impressive. But yeah, Gunnar Stockton, you always heard a lot of good things behind the scenes. And I remember being at that SEC championship game. My man BK sitting right beside me. Once Trey Moore knocked Carson Beck out the game, I thought it was done. I thought, oh, hell yeah. Texas is about to win the SEC championship here in year 1. Texas about to get a bye week. Oh, about to get your revenge on Georgia. Ain't no way the backup could come in here and win this game. And even though he didn't play great, he played good enough. And that's just what he does. Like, if his team needs points, like in Ole Miss and Tennessee, he puts them up. If his team needs him to control the game and manage the clock and utilize their very solid run game, he could do that too. So when they're playing complementary football, because they could play so many different styles depending on who their opponent is, it makes them very dangerous because you don't know what Texas team you're going to get. But I know for sure Gunnar Stockton and Bobo and this Georgia offense, even though it hasn't been pretty all the time, they're going to be able to adapt on the fly. And you got to salute their coaching for that, because that's what makes Kirby Smart and the staff so good, how they can just adjust on the fly and play with anybody in the country. He's proven that. So this Georgia team isn't anything different. And yeah, Gunnar Stockton, I didn't think he'd be this good. Like that Notre Dame game in the Sugar Bowl, it was, but you could tell he worked his ass off all off season. And there's also something about knowing you're the guy. Kirby Smart, he gave him the keys and said, hey, this is your team. Like, for a guy that's from the state of Georgia, that grew up wearing those colors, that always envisioned himself of being that Georgia quarterback, what that could do for a guy's confidence, oh, man. And He plays like it, and the team plays like that with him. So, yeah, Gunnar Stockton, he's earned my respect this year, and he's going to be someone that Pete Witkowski is going to keep him up at night. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, you look at the fact that he's only thrown 2 interceptions. Other quarterbacks of prominence who have thrown 2 interceptions or less. Ty Simpson at Alabama has 21 touchdown passes, 1 interception. That's not bad. Your guy Brendan Sorsby at Cincinnati, 21 touchdown passes, 2 interceptions.
I need my man Sorsby to come up big in a couple of weeks. They got BYU. Got to come up big.
And Haynes King at Georgia Tech, 9 touchdown passes, 2 interceptions. Trinidad Chambliss at Ole Miss, 13 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So Gunnar Stockton, guy, he doesn't kill you with, he's not number 1 in pass efficiency. That's Julian Sayin at Ohio State, who has 24 touchdown passes and 4 interceptions. Fernando Mendoza is second in pass efficiency, 26 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Hell, Diego Pavia's 4th in pass efficiency. Gunnar Stockton is 30th. So he doesn't get the hubbub, the hype.
Yeah.
And he's low key. He doesn't have that big telegenic personality. He doesn't pop off the screen. He doesn't have a last name like Manning. But man, this dude digs it out.
Yeah.
This dude digs out wins.
And I'm not saying he's Stetson Bennett, but like the things that you just described just there, Stetson Bennett was like that. Low key. Oh, I want y'all to think I'm the underdog. I want to be David versus Goliath all the time. And then when it's the heat of battle, you're going to know what time it is. Like, that's what's terrifying. And those national stats, he might not be up there in some of those, but go look at his stats in the SEC. I think he's number 1 in QBR, number 1 in completion percentage, number 2 in touchdown to interception ratio. So the guy can ball, man. Like, the guy, you just faced Diego Pavia, and he lit you up in the 4th quarter. He's got a lot of that in him where he can improvise. There were times I was watching that Florida game back this morning. There were times where those Gators, they were in that backfield coming from the blind side too. And he just feel it out and he just roll out real smooth and throw it to Oscar Delp, and the chain just keep on moving. Just nonchalant. He don't celebrate. He ain't pumping his fist or nothing. Just, okay, first down. What's the next play? Where are we going, Bobo? It's all business, man. I respect the hell out of the dude. Like, he showed me some stuff because I didn't know about him. I didn't know that he would make that jump. Like, again, Marcus Freeman, they had him in a blender last year. That game was rough. They were calling for Bobo's job. You remember that? You were there. They were saying, Bobo, we don't know. Carson Beck was supposed to be the real deal. Carson Beck looked everything but that in 2024. Bobo, are you the guy? And Gunnar Stockton was like, hold on, Mike, I got you. Let me really get in the lab and have a whole, spring camp and training camp in the summer to train and get right with my guys. Bring me some better wide receivers. They bring over Zach Branch from USC, pay the hell out of him, worth every penny because the dude he's a problem. Manny Muhammad, Jalen Gilbo, buckle them chin straps up tight, fellas, because he's a problem. But yeah, they gave him some more weapons. Last year's team led the nation in drops. Gunnar Stockton has proved a lot. And they're just kind of under the radar. Like, everybody talking Ohio State, everybody talking Indiana. this is exactly where Kirby wants to be. Like, yeah.
Well, and Gunnar Stockton, he was not the the ballyhooed recruit. He's from Tiger, Alabama. Georgia. Sorry, Georgia. Tiger, Georgia. And he was the 124th ranked prospect in 2022, the 7th highest rated quarterback in the nation, and the 12th highest rated player in the state of Georgia. And so he was kind of under the radar. Of course, Carson Beck was the guy.
He's kind of like Colt. And like how I say they're synonymous with one another, Colt McCoy's, because he was very under the radar in Georgia. And there's something that the coaching staff saw in him. He broke a ton of records, but I don't know if he played at the elite level for Georgia football. I don't know, but
his senior year in high school, he had 55 touchdown passes and 1 interception.
Yeah, he was breaking Trevor Lawrence records and stuff, Justin Fields records and stuff. The dude's a baller.
Yeah, takes care of the football. He's, And it's interesting because everyone's like, oh, man, Texas let a backup quarterback beat him in the SEC championship game. Okay, well, no one's talking about Gunnar Stockton like that now. All Texas did was give Georgia fans a chance to see him before they expected to see him. And I see, Rex says Gunnar didn't do jack against us in the SEC championship game. He led that third quarter touchdown drive.
Yeah, the first drive set the tone.
First drive
of the game. Yeah.
And that was in a low scoring game. That proved to be a big deal. And he made plays.
Yeah.
He made plays with his legs. He
didn't fumble when Andrew Makuba jacked him up. He should have fumbled. A normal, regular human being would have fumbled in that. That's what I'm saying. He does things where you're like, that just scare you. Like, why aren't you fumbling, bro? Why aren't you out the game? Like, why aren't you donezo? Like, why aren't they bringing in the third string to replace you? Why aren't you seeing stars? And maybe he was, but he wasn't acting like it. Like, he's tough as nails, boy. And some of y'all said yesterday, oh, Zay sound like a Bulldog fan. I ain't trying to be that. I just want to keep things in perspective on what I've been seeing this year.
Yeah, for sure.
Call it like it is. The dude can play, and he has a ton of talent around him. And yeah, he's a game manager, but also Ole Miss, Tennessee, like I said before, if you need him to put up points, he's about that life too. He's made some big-time throws for the Bulldogs this year, and who knows which running back's going to get it going. Bowens, Frazier, Phillips, McCray, all those guys at different times have had big games, big drives. So they feel good about their run and attack right now, but I feel good about Texas run-stopping defense.
Yeah.
Real good.
Yeah, that's the area that absolutely has to show up for Texas. The Texas run defense, number 2 in the nation, that needs to live up to the ranking. Because, Rex says, man, I didn't realize Gunnar Stockton was Tom Brady.
Yo, man,
no one's saying that.
I'm just telling you, Rex, oh boy.
We're just saying Gunnar Stockton is the real deal. Like if you're all in on Diego Pavia, you should be all in on Gunnar Stockton because the guy just makes plays when you need to have it. I mean, here's an example. Okay. So, on a go-ahead touchdown drive in the fourth quarter of Georgia's 24-20 win over Florida, Stockton was 3 of 3 passing, including an 18-yard pass to Zachariah Branch on 3rd and 8 from the Georgia 20. Like, the guy, the game-winning touchdown against Tennessee was on 4th and 6. It was a 28-yard touchdown pass to Landon Humphreys. Like, the guy, he's impervious. The moment's not too big to him. Now, Texas has the best pass rush that he's faced. And Pikowski in this Texas front seven, really the entire defense, they gotta be jacked up, ready to go for this one, because they can unsettle this thing. They can get Gunnar Stockton off his spot. Georgia has 4 new offensive line starters too. It's not like Texas is the only one with new offensive line starters. Georgia's got 4 new offensive line starters, and they ran the ball for 300 yards last week against Mississippi State. So, and it's been Chauncey Bowens one week, Nate Frazier the next. And that's the marquee matchup. The Georgia offense against the Texas defense. Yeah. Because Georgia fans are looking at their own defense and saying, man, I hope Arch Manning doesn't get to the secondary. I hope Arch Manning doesn't have time to find the holes in that secondary. Because that's how Joey Aguilar completed 14 straight balls to open the game for Tennessee.
Yeah. They were just mossing fools. Like, their receivers were just little boying those Georgia DBs in that game. Like, I don't know if we got that in us. I want to see it. That's another step. I'm being honest.
Right. Like Cam Coleman from Auburn. That dude, he just wins.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for from Ryan Wingo. Now, Ryan Wingo's in his first year as a starter, but that's the kind of play that you're looking for from a number 1 receiver at Texas and Steve Sarkisian's offense. Yeah. That's the bar.
I thought we'd come to the conclusion Texas doesn't have a number 1 receiver.
I agree.
Guys, just
I'm waiting. I'm waiting for right now. Emmett Mosley's looking like the number 1.
To their defense, they're battling for it. It's not like, guys aren't battling for the number 1.
They're battling.
They're battling for it. So I appreciate that. It's just, I would feel better if we knew who the guy was. And Ryan Wingo, he's come along. I'm very terrified about the thumb injury because this ain't the game to be having drops, bruh.
Yeah, this ain't
it, and you've already dealt with that even before the thumb became an issue. Now it is. What's that mean? Because you're going to have to make some contested catches. It's going to be, some uncomfortable moments out there. Can you make the play? Parker Livingston, DeAndre Moore, Emmett Mosley the 5th. And I think they can. I think the separation that these guys could get, they should be able to have some success. But if they become one-dimensional, where Humann and Kirby Smart know, they're just going to throw that thing, and they could just drop 7 and have 4 rush, and that 4 that's rushing is still a problem with Texas offensive line, kind of like what we saw last year twice. It's going to be a long Saturday night, and I don't think my blood pressure is ready for all that.
Yeah, this defense, and I'm going to be interested to see because Georgia runs a lot of the same stuff Texas does. The Zachariah Branch touchdown against Mississippi State, the 19-yarder, was 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage, wide receiver screen. And Branch just whoop, 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 got good blocks from Oscar Delp. And that's the kind of stuff that Texas should not be surprised, but we saw Kentucky, Cutter Bowley getting the ball out quick, and he got into a rhythm, and Kentucky's offense was slinging it, and Texas was bending, and then not breaking. And that's kind of the way Texas does it. And I'm going to be real interested to see if Steve Sarkisian, remember when Steve Sarkisian said that he told the team going into the Alabama game in 23, trust us because we're going to be aggressive. Okay? I would say that to the defense. Trust us because we're going to be aggressive. Georgia unleashed the hounds last year early to see if Texas could handle it, and they couldn't. So Georgia just kept bringing it. And kudos to Kirby and Humann for doing that, because it's a risk. If you're going to blitz both your linebackers on double A gap pressure, your defensive linemen who drop back have to get into the perfect spot and depth and coverage to make sure that those slants, crossers, drags aren't just wide open. And I would say to Pete Kwiatkowski, we're going for it. We're going to, we got to be creative. We got to be smart. We got to, make sure that we're making really calculated decisions, but you got to get to Gunnar Stockton early. You need to rough him up early. So I'm real interested to see how Texas approaches this thing, because I would get after it early.
Yeah, I agree. And that's why I said it yesterday. You'll hear me say it for the next 3 days. Leonga Lafau and Ty Anthony Smith have to be really good. And I know Mookie Taft plays a big part of that with his communication to everybody on the defense. Jelani McDonald, throw him in there too. But when you attack, you need Anthony Hill being one of those guys to attack and get in the backfield, because Gunnar Stockton, he's only been sacked 11 times.
Yeah.
That's not much. And a lot of it's because the dude is a gamer. He doesn't go down easily. He's slippery. And he's way more athletic than people give him credit for. So he's able to get out of situations if their offensive line breaks down. So you got to be really disciplined when you attack him. And those linebackers that drop back and everybody else in the secondary, they have to be money too. Just because if you're not, and you're missing tackles like we saw against Vanderbilt, and then Eli Stowers puts up 2 touchdowns and a $140 something through the air. Georgia has tight ends too. Oscar Delp, he probably licking his chops seeing what Eli Stowers did. Now again, Mookie Taft not being available, big deal. But yeah, the matchups in this, Texas matches up pretty well, like all things considered. Besides just looking at the Steve Sarkisian, Kirby Smart matchup, and that narrative that Kirby has Sark's number, even though it's only been 2 games. They got 5 stars. Texas has 5 stars. They paid a lot of money for their players. Texas paid a lot of money for theirs. Like, let's go. Sanford Stadium, are y'all going to be that big of a difference? Maybe, but it hasn't been like Texas hasn't been on the road before. When you go to the Horseshoe, when you go to the Swamp, these are tough environments. So this ain't nothing new to a lot of these guys. And now you're playing with the most confidence that you've had all season long, winning 4 straight games, even though those 4 games at times got a little murky there. So, yeah, I still feel good about Texas, even though I probably ain't going to pick them to win. Still feel pretty good, all things considered, especially the cover. The line's still 6.5. Like, come on.
All right. How tall do you think Diego Pavia is?
Man, Diego Pavia, on a good day, I think he about 5'10".
Okay. They list him
best day.
They list him at 6 feet.
They lying.
How tall do you think Gunnar Stockton is?
Gunnar Stockton on a good day, 6 foot flat.
Okay. They list him at 6'1".
See, that's how it goes. So Gunnar Stockton might be 5'10", 5'11".
But Gunnar is thick, like Pavia. He's 215. So if Pavia's 5'10", 207, Gunnar's 6 feet, 215. And he's got some thickness in his calves, hams, and ass. And he's hard to bring down. And he can scoot. Now he's not going to outrun anyone for 50, 60 yards, but he can get by, get around the corner, step up, go get you 4 or 5 yards, maybe more. I mean, he is the third leading rusher on this team. He is the leading leader in rushing touchdowns with 7. So I'm just saying. But that's the marquee matchup. It is Colin Simmons, Anthony Hill, Hero Canoe. It's these guys, Trey Moore, Ethan Burke. It's these guys making sure that, that Stockton doesn't get into a rhythm. And here's the thing, like early in the Mississippi State game, I thought Texas was too, just rushing 4. Like Georgia's going to rush 4, but they're going to bring guys from, you don't know where they're coming from. Because it's not just going to be the 4 up on the line. They'll put 6 and 7 up on the line and drop guys out. And it's up to you to figure out which 4 are coming and have an answer for it. Texas doesn't do a lot of that. Texas, puts the 4 guys up on the line and rushes those 4. They'll occasionally, bring the zone pressure and drop guys out, but I'm talking about you've had 2 weeks to prepare. So give them something. Give them something that breaks your tendencies. Give them something that your guys are comfortable with that Georgia's going to have to adjust. Don't just go in there and, with the same, okay, our guys are good enough to win. Okay, no, you're on the road. You're picked to lose by almost a touchdown. You're going to have to take some chances. You're going to have to do some things to try to get home and, make Gunnar Stockton uncomfortable. And I'm real interested to watch that because, Colin Simmons is good enough to win one-on-one. So's Ethan Burke. So's Hero Canoe. But nothing wrong with sending some heat early, see how he handles it. That's the thing about Georgia, too, with that double-A gap pressure. Those are run blitzes. So if Texas is trying to run it up the middle, oh, guess what? Here comes C.J. Allen, Nice to meet you. So, Kirby's, he's the maestro.
Yeah.
Calculated risk. Rush on the way, or stop the run on the way to the passer. That's Kirby's philosophy, and it works.
Yeah, he can't do it like he did last year. Arch, he can move way better than Quinn.
Yeah.
Especially the times they saw Quinn, the whole oblique thing. Like, I'll always say that sophomore year Quinn was the most athletic Quinn you were going to see when he was running all over Baylor and Kansas and stuff like that, getting those 30-yard, 29-yard touchdowns. But Quinn last year, I don't know if Quinn could outrun me last year. So now you're dealing with somebody that could use his legs a little bit. Be careful. And Arch has had pretty good pocket presence as of late. And Sark's done a really good job of getting the ball out of his hands to the perimeter where if any action's coming inside, then, we got something to negate that. So keep doing that, man. I expect the run game to be somewhat efficient, but also I just don't know. Like what I'm banking on with that chip is CJ Baxter being that much more healthy and comfortable in the offense coming off of that hamstring injury, and Contravian Wisner being that much more healthy after the bye. Like this bye week, I know somebody mentioned up here, didn't Texas have a bye week before Florida, which that's the game they lost? Yeah, but you could just feel things are more figured out from that time to now, whether it's Cole Hudson, Connor Robinson, switcheroo, to guys just getting more healthy. Everybody's been concerned with the secondary. Well, Michael Taft and Jelani McDonald are back, so you feel like that's good there. And the person who said how I could feel good but also expect them to lose, you can still play well and lose. Like
ask Ole Miss.
Yeah, that's
Ole Miss had 8 and 9 point leads on Georgia in Athens in the third quarter in a game that was, I think there were like 5 or 6 lead changes. And
yeah, when you play high quality teams, you could still play good football and lose the game. So that's what I mean there. Home field advantage. As much as I think Steve Sarkisian's a good coach, I put Kirby Smart on a different pedestal because Kirby Smart's done it multiple times. So,
and in that Ole Miss game, Georgia finished the game with 17 unanswered points. Stockton was 6 of 6 passing for 71 yards and 2 touchdowns in that fourth quarter. When Ole Miss outscored, or Georgia outscored Ole Miss 17-0. So I'm not trying to build him up bigger than he is, but when he needs to come through, he's been coming through.
Yeah.
Like this guy locks in. You can tell he grew up wanting to go to Georgia. I mean, some people have compared him to Sam Ehlinger. He's more accurate than Ehlinger, but his will to win reminds me of Ehlinger. And, Gunnar Stockton's waited. He was a 2022 recruit. He's playing in 2025. I mean, he's waited his turn. So this means a lot to him. And that's why you're going to have to, the defense is going to have to play outstanding to get him roughed up, off, unsettled. And that I'm real eager to see how they approach that, because if you just try to play heads up, I think Gunnar Stockton will pick you apart. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, he's tough. I mean, I don't know what NFL aspirations he has. I'm sure he has them, but I don't know what the scouts think of him. We should ask Drew that come Thursday. But he's just a straight up gamer. Like that's all I can do. When I look at Gunnar Stockton, I see a guy that's always going to give his team a chance. And yeah, it might be a game managing style of play, but it fits. It fits with Kirby Smart's style. It fits with Mike Bobo's style and the brand that Georgia likes to play. And it ain't even about him. Like, ain't nothing about him. It's about the team and that brand. So those guys, they always dangerous in my opinion. And yeah, he knows. He knows this is a big game. He knows that they were trying to get Arch Manning over him. He was in the building. He was probably there for Arch's visit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might have to ask that. You might have to ask that or something. Or maybe it's too late because you don't get to talk to the players no more. But yeah, who helped you out on your visit? Because that's Gunnar Stockton. He in house, freshman, waiting his turn to be the backup. They whining and dining Arch Manning. You got the fans and stands with the shirts or painted on their chest. I forget which one, but it said, "We want Arch" at Sanford Stadium. Arch said came down to the wire between Georgia and Texas. So, yeah, Gunnar Stockton, y'all know I like me some bulletin board material. If I'm Gunnar Stockton, it's personal. It's personal. Oh, y'all are gonna choose this guy over me? Hey, souls, man. It has to be written by somebody. You know what I'm saying? If I don't write it, somebody else is. I just gotta let y'all know, you know.
What book you writing?
Game, huh?
What book you writing?
I'm just, got a lot of thoughts in this wild mind of mine.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So who knows? Whatever just comes to the top of the dome. Like, it's just, I would look at that like, I'd look at that as something personal. And again, let's see who's above me. I'm born named after Michael Jordan, Isaiah Thomas. Like, that's my dude. MJ, love that man. What he's done for my life.
What's he done for your life? What's Michael Jordan done for your life?
Put me here. The love of the game. What he put into it. He was like, you know what? I know I'll never be that, but I want to be around it. Somehow, some way, I got to be around that. Which led me to this chair, talking to the great Chip Brown every day from 2 to 4. So Jordan's a part of that. He's a part of that. You know what I mean? And my man Mike will find anything.
Here's okay. So Georgia has Dalen Everett. Dalen Everett feasted against Texas last year. So did Jahdae Barron. So who's going to be Jahdae Barron for Texas Saturday night? It should be Malik Muhammad, right? It should be Malik Muhammad because he's a junior. He's been in the program. He's probably thinking, have I done enough to go to the league after this season? Okay, well, here's your game. If you think that you're ready for the league, here's your game. This is the game. Really good game against Oklahoma. Really good game. Now, Mateer was throwing some passes. The receivers were on different pages, but still, 2 interceptions, big time, including one in the end zone right before halftime on a route that Deion Burks was like running across and then stopped. So it looked like the pass was being thrown to Malik Muhammad. But let's see it. Because look, this person says Eyes of Texas 97 says Muhammad isn't that great. Okay, well, he's been fighting through it. He's had hamstring,
Yeah, he's starting to get hurt.
Yeah.
He's starting to, what game did he straight up make? He just missed Florida.
He missed.
And people are going to wonder, wow, why didn't Florida light up Georgia like they did Texas? Dallas Wilson did not play in the world's largest cocktail party.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying he would have been a difference, but he for sure was against Texas. And I think if he didn't play against Texas,
might have been a difference.
Might have been a difference. So the team that Texas played when they played Florida, that was the best version of Florida all year by far. But yeah, Manny Muhammad, I think he's been solid this year. I think the injuries are starting to catch up to him a little bit. And obviously, just like it will affect anybody that's affecting his play. The person that I've been kind of about this year, which I'm kind of disappointed to say, is Jalen Gilbo. He's been all right.
Right.
He hasn't been as bad as Terrence Brooks was, but he's nowhere close to what we saw from Jahdae Barron, which, again, he's a Thorpe Award winner. It's rich me saying this about Jalen Gilbo, no disrespect, but again, Jahdae Barron, he went from that star position to the outside corner, and it led to trophies. Jalen Gilbo, he doesn't get exposed that much, but also there's been times where I'm like, come on, man, you could be better.
Right.
They need you to be a little bit better because these coaches, they don't care about challenging them. They're going to challenge Jalen Gilbo. They're going to throw to his side, and just kind of like what Pete Kwiatkowski's defense brings at times, bend but don't break with Jalen Gilbo. And I can't even put nothing on him for that play by Carnell Tate, first game of the year. Carnell Tate does that to a lot of people. That dude might be a top 10 player in this year's draft, and he's playing alongside Jeremiah Smith. But I just expected more from Jalen Gilbo in his last year at Texas. I know he's still a vocal leader. I know, Pete Kwiatkowski and Sark rely on him a lot. And again, he hasn't been awful. He hasn't been bad. It's just been all right. And I was expecting him to be, hell, at least honorable mention SEC player, but that just hasn't been the case. And again, he has 3 games to shut my ass up, which I would love. If he comes in, gives me 2 interceptions in the next 3 games, especially in this one coming up and that one on Black Friday, hell yeah. Jalen Gilbo, I'll come on this platform and apologize to you straight up. But I expect more from the Port Arthur native, and I think he's got more in his game.
Well, Jalen Gilbo, so the 2 most targeted defensive backs for Texas this season are Grayson Littleton. He's been targeted 49 times, and Jalen Gilbo has been targeted 42 times. Manny Muhammad's been targeted 25 times. Jelani McDonald targeted 27 times. Taft targeted 9 times. So, and here's the thing. Littleton's given up less yards, even though he's been targeted more, and he was targeted 49 times. He's given up 32 receptions. Littleton, he's given up 342 yards passing. Gilbo targeted 42 times, given up 28 receptions, given up 370 yards passing, and 2 touchdowns. Littleton hasn't given up a touchdown. Kobe Black has given up 2 touchdowns. Leonga Lafau has given up 2 passing touchdowns. And those are the 3 players who've given up at least 2 touchdowns passing this season. So teams are going after Gilbo. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
And they've had success. Like you said, the touchdown that Carnell Tate caught, great catch. Great catch. I mean, Gilbo was right in front of him. It was, it was contested coverage. It wasn't like he was 3 steps, behind him. He was right there. Yeah, Tate went right over the top of him.
Yeah, just undersized compared to Carnell Tate. And when he gets those matchups where a receiver's slightly bigger, they're going to test him like that. And he's had, how many penalties has he had? He's had at least 3 pass interference calls, maybe a holding in there. I don't know. But that's also continued drives at times, So I again, he has 3 more games to shut my ass up. Like, I would love to see it. But I would also love to see what Cade Phillips talking about. Because Cade Phillips, he got some good reps against Vandy 2 weeks ago. And I don't know if they feel confident in Kobe Black anymore, which I think everybody deserves a second chance. But also, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes at practice. Like, are they doing everything, or are they, whatever they're asking as coaches, is Kobe Black and all these guys doing what these coaches are asking? And are they going above and beyond? I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but what I do know and what I've seen, and that's a fact, is that Kobe Black snaps have decreased a ton since earlier in the year. And we didn't expect that either. That's another disappointment. Like, I thought he was going to take that jump, that sophomore jump, to where, you know, you heard Sark before the season. He said, we got 3 good corners that we feel good in. He was talking about Kobe Black, Jalen Gilbo, and Manny Muhammad. And now Kobe Black is, again, starting to get less and less reps. Cade Phillips starting to get more and more reps. Let's see what that's like this Saturday.
Yeah. I mean, Kobe Black, 100. So Gilbo and Muhammad are at 495 and 425 snaps. I mean, those are your guys. And Littleton, 422 snaps at nickel. Kobe Black, 115 snaps. And it's not been good. You know, Cade Phillips is playing better. So it's it's
tough, man. Like what that's what I'm saying. I always so curious on where that shift. And I get, like, I know the name of the game. Sark has made it very known, just like every good coach would. You earn your playing time by doing everything we're asking. And that's watching film, practice, in-game, adjustments, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The list goes on to academics. Like, these coaches ask a lot of these guys. So the ones that are doing it more than the other, those are the ones that develop the trust, you know? So when I see guys that we expected to really just elevate in their game and it's not happening, it's weird. It's weird to me because I think Kobe Black can still be a hell of a player. And again, he's only a sophomore. He's still young. Like, you know, I think we get caught up in guys being 3 and done just because, hey, why not? But also, there's some guys that need all 4 years to show that, okay, it's finally clicking for me. Now I could go off and have a good pro career because this last year I figured it all out. And that might be the case for Kobe Black. It's just I didn't expect him to get the lack of reps that he's had so far this year.
Yeah. All right. So let's look at some of the juniors and see if they have any. Okay, we know Ant Hill is going to leave after this year, right?
Yeah, I think it's it for him. Derek Johnson came back his senior season, but, you know, guys just not like that anymore. So there's no need for him to come back. Like, how much does he have to improve on? I don't know how much he loves the college life to want to do that. Love the University of Texas. You know, who knows how this team ends, and however the outcome is with this year, it might motivate him to possibly come back, or the opposite. It might motivate him to leave more. I don't know, but I would say he's definitely leaning more towards being out of here than staying.
Okay. What about Jelani McDonald?
I think he's going to listen. I think he's going to listen to what these scouts have to say about him. I haven't really looked at mock drafts, which now it's November. I could do that for tomorrow, or I could see what's up right now, but I haven't really heard anything about him in mock drafts much. But I know he's got the body. Just, I don't know.
Malik Muhammad.
Yeah, I think he's gone.
Trevor Gooseby.
No, I think he's staying. Especially if his brother is supposed to sign for basketball on Friday. So look at that. If his brother commits to Texas, which he's Some rankings got him a 4-star, some have him a 5. I know Duke's up there, BYU, I think Baylor, and also Texas. If Sean Miller could get Trevor Goosby's brother, I think Trevor Goosby is stayed for sure.
What do you think of Austin Goosby?
Oh, he could play. He could
Where
play.
where do you see him?
I think Texas has a really good shot. I do.
What position though?
2, 3. Yeah, 2, 3. Sometimes point. Dude, skilled, man. Like, I know BYU's throwing around money like I don't know what. So he definitely has to listen to him. But come on, man. You go to college to live the college life. Do you really get to do that at BYU? I get AJ DeBansa. That dude, he only going to be in Provo for about 3 more months anyway. Like, once March ends, AJ DeBansa is getting ready for the draft. So he's going to get all the lifestyle, if you know what I'm talking about, in the NBA. Goosby, I don't think Goosby is a one-and-done player. I think he's good, but yeah, man, you want to enjoy the experience. And who said? And how many people could say I went to school with my brother for a little bit? I know they won't see each other much because they got responsibilities, football, basketball, but you see how important Arch Manning and Hyde Manning's relationship is for Arch's psyche and just mental saneness. It might be that way for the Goosby brothers, and not too many people could say that. So, yeah, I think Texas has a really good shot, and Sean Miller plays a fun style of basketball that a lot of players want to play.
Yeah. I think Trevor should come back. I think he should come back. What about Contravian Wisner?
Yes, absolutely.
Come back.
Yeah, he has to come back. Yeah. I know just as a running back, you have a very short window in the league, but also I think he has a lot more to prove here at Texas. And I think him and CJ Baxter's relationship, both of those guys coming back next year and being that dynamic running back duo that we expected this year, even though they still can be that, it's just next year, I think it's more likely than it is this year.
Brad Spence.
Yeah.
Should come back.
Yeah, hell yeah.
What about
he Hero?
Huh?
He could be the man next year in a way.
Yeah.
He could. Yeah. I'm high on him. I'm high on him.
What about Hero Canoe?
Yeah, I think so.
Come back.
Yeah.
DeAndre Moore.
I think so. Yeah. Think about all the goals he set out this year. He ain't going to touch any of those. And he was hurt for a little part of the season, but just the way the offense is, the struggles, ups and downs. I think Arch Manning's definitely going to come back next year too. I think coming for a senior season, DeAndre Moore. Next year, that wide receiver group, Mosley, Livingston, Wingo, DeAndre Moore, that could be scary.
Yeah, I wonder about DeAndre Moore because he's a good player. He's going to run well. Receivers in Sarkisian's offense tend to go high. We've seen that with Xavier Worthy, Matt Golden. A.D. Mitchell was a second-round pick. That'll be interesting. I think that one's like a 50-50. And then, I got to think Jack Endry's coming back.
Yeah.
You'll have Arch a year older, a year more comfortable in the system. Yeah. Those are the primary guys. Leon Galafal's obviously a junior, but he needs to come back.
He needs to come back. Another guy that I've been a little disappointed in as of late.
He's doing well against the run. He's struggling with the pass coverage, and I haven't broken it down enough to see how much of it was. I know he gave up one of those 2 touchdowns against Mississippi State, and that was a rough game for him. And that was without Taft on the field. And I know some people are like, y'all are making too much out of Taft being on the field. I don't think so. I think he gets that back 7 lined up, and that's, you play with more confidence when you have a guy out there who's super confident in what he's seeing and helps, get everyone lined up without having to go to the sideline and look at it on the tablet,
It's a big deal.
It is. Last year we saw it. I mean, look at the year before. 23? Texas was giving up chunk plays all over the place. You get Makuba, Taft, and Jade Barron back there. Those guys were communicating so well. They were so connected. And they were the number 1 pass defense for a good part of last season. And, Texas has given up more yards. There's no doubt about it. I mean, they are 94th in passing yards allowed. Last year, they were 1, 2, or 3 most of the year. And a lot of that has come in the last couple of games, when Texas has given up an average of 337. That hurts.
It's not great.
It's not great.
Yeah. I like that start through Xavier Filsaime when he was talking about the struggles with the pass defense. He said everyone's number. He was like, when we get 16, 4, and 17 back there, we'll be good. And obviously, Mookie Taft, 16, Jelani McDonald, 4, but Xavier Filsaime, 17. And it wasn't like he was great against Vanderbilt. I think he needs Michael Taft and Jelani McDonald out there too, because when it was just him and Derek Williams, yikes, it got rough. And again, Derek Williams, he's one of my favorite players. He's just not the same guy he was before the knee injury, and hopefully he can figure that out. And next year, definitely figure that out. But clearly, Steve Sarkisian has a lot of confidence in Xavier Filsaime. And that dude, you talk about next year, Michael Taft's gone, he's going to be looked at as that guy, especially if Jelani McDonald does well and runs well and kills it at the combine or whatever, and he leaves. That's a lot on Xavier Filsaime and Derek Williams, and they're definitely going to have to improve their game. And I'm sure Orfe and Akina know that. So, yeah, I now that Michael Taft's back, even though Georgia has weapons, you're going to have to make Gunnar Stockton throw. As much as we've been talking about him, you cannot allow that run game to get going. And when they're putting up 200-something yards on the ground on Tennessee and 300 on the they put that on. Was that Mississippi State? They put 300 on? Yeah. They put up 200 on Ole Miss. They run the ball really well. So making them one-dimensional, and even Alabama, they ran all over them in that loss. They basically ran on everyone they've played this year, but they haven't played a run defense like Texas. So forcing Gunnar Stockton to air it out, even though Texas defense is quote-unquote the liability, now that those guys are healthy, we'll see. And that's what I feel good about. Guys, how you feel good about still lose? I think Texas has a solid chance of making the game one-dimensional for Georgia and forcing those receivers to try to make big plays. I know Gunnar Stockton could get it to him, but that interception that Gunnar Stockton, one of those interceptions that he had, one of the two, it went right through homeboy's hands. You know, it was on the money, but went through his hands and into a Florida Gators palms. So I think that could happen. Like when guys are running around, it's hard to be perfectly accurate when you got that pressure on you. So,
Well,
football, baby.
Think about, so Texas comes off the bye week earlier in the year, goes to Florida. And this is the one time we've seen the Texas defense get manhandled in the run game. Florida ran it 37 times for 159 yards, and Jaden Baugh had 27 carries for 107 yards and a touchdown. And Florida averaged 4.3 yards per carry in that game. Texas, for the season, is giving up just over 2 yards per carry. So do I think the Texas defense went to Florida and thought this team is dead, team walking? Probably. And then Florida came out, totally impassioned, locked in at home. Texas shouldn't get caught like that in this game, because a bunch of these dudes lived it against Georgia last year and know what they're, going to get. I'd be surprised. I mean, Georgia's going to run it 37 times. I'll be surprised if Georgia can run it, for 159 yards and 4.3 a carry. I think Texas will show up that way.
Yeah, it's a shame if they ever took Florida for granted, but it seemed like they did, because Florida coming off 3 straight losses, you feel like you're going to go in there and roll. And Jaden Ball, he got going. DJ Lagway got into a little groove. We already mentioned Dallas Wilson and stuff. So I'm sure Kirby Smart definitely watched that film to see what he could do with his guys. And that's what also makes them dangerous too. Like, they don't just have one running back that they rely on. They got 4 guys at different times that they could throw in at whatever point of the game, and those guys can produce. Like, probably the worst thing for Georgia opponents was Nate Frazier fumbling, ironically, because Kirby, he ain't going to put up with that shit for long. So, all right, you got a fumbling problem. We got other guys to come in and take your reps until you figure it out. We'll give you another chance, but you going to have to earn it. And Nate Frazier put his hard hat on, put his head down, and said, "You right, coach, I got you." And Nate Frazier has been good ever since, because Bowens has been good. Phillips at different times. Phillips Jr. has been solid. McCray has been solid. So you could get left in the pack easy with Georgia. You can get put in that doghouse very easy. And Nate Frazier, again, just been good ever since he had that fumbling issue, because they just have so many different guys that will take your reps in a heartbeat. Even though they lost ETN, as my man CB says, Longhorn killer last year, but they got guys. Bowens is a tough physical runner, only a freshman. Fort Lauderdale kid. Them Fort Lauderdale kids, all they know is football. They gonna be tough. Like, everybody thinks it's just beaches down there in Florida. No, some of them brothers, Michael Irvin, all them dudes, they from the slums of Fort Lauderdale. And that's how Bowens runs. Chauncey Bowens, number 33. Look out for him for the next few years, because he's just a freshman, and I think he's that next Georgia back.
Well, Georgia ran against Texas in the first meeting last year, 30 carries, 108 yards, 3 touchdowns. Trevor Etienne, 19 carries, 87 yards, 3 touchdowns. Then in the second meeting, Georgia ran it 37 times for 141 yards, 3.8 a carry. So, Texas held him under 4, and ATN had 16 carries for 94 yards and 2 touchdowns. So, again, 4 new starters on the offensive line. Chauncey Bowens, Nate Frazier, both tough, solid runners who are physical. Let's see what they got. Yeah, I'm really that matchup, the Georgia offense against the Texas defense. Anthony Hill, Colin Simmons, all eyes on you. It's your chance. And I see the Bednarik, the defensive Heisman semifinalists have been named. Anthony Hill is on the list. Colin Simmons is not. Someone asked, why not Colin Simmons? And I'd just say, look, he's been money the last 4 games, 7.5 sacks last 4 games, but the first 5, it took him a while to get going.
Yeah.
And he may end up making people regret it that he's not on that list.
Which I like. Humble him.
Right.
He needs to be humble. He needs to continue to be humble. You know,
right.
Like he got over his skis a little bit to start the season. He talking about breaking the sack record and this, that, and the third, which I love a brother that has goals. We need more of that, in society today. More folks need goals in their life to strive to try to achieve them. I appreciate that. But sometimes you got to be humbled a little bit. And I think he has been. And I like him not being nominated because I think he's just going to prove to those folks that did it, hey, you should have. And I think he's that type of guy that has turned up his game as of late, and he could be a legend on Saturday.
Yeah. You know who else is a legend? Our man, Dr. Chad Denman of the Sleep Cycle Center. I mean, listen, for my guys who are snoring, it's more than just annoying to the person sleeping next to you. Could be the sign of a serious health issue called sleep apnea. And Dr. Chad Denman has dedicated his life to treating sleep apnea because it killed his own father at the age of 60. Guys, we have this great partnership right now with Texas Sports Unfiltered and the Sleep Cycle Center to where Dr. Chad's going to, he's got the best technology for the sleep study to detect your level of sleep apnea if you have it, and the best treatment options, including oral appliances, which I have a mouth guard that holds my lower jaw open while I sleep. So I get that good deep sleep. But take advantage of this opportunity because right now you go to sleepcyclecenters.com and tell them Texas Sports Unfiltered sent you. They're going to take $100 off your sleep study. Basically, give it away so that you get the information you need. Just go to sleepcyclecenters.com and tell them Texas Sports Unfiltered sent you. Zay Luis says, I've seen mock drafts that have Wisner as a top 7 running back. That could put you in the 5th, 6th, 7th round. I think Quintravian Wisner, I could be wrong, but I think he wants to be a part of something special. And if some of these guys think that this offense is putting it together, that Arch is going to be a completely different quarterback from the guy who started this season, which I think he already is, then you got a chance to do something special. And obviously Texas needs to get some things right in the portal and depending on what happens. But look, they handled it on the defensive line last year. I mean, Hero Canoe has been a revelation. Murad Watson, great addition. Cole Brevard. Those guys have been really good. Travis Shaw has contributed. Levon Johnson, not as much, but Alex January's coming on. You feel good about the defensive line, even though you're losing Cole Brevard and Travis Shaw after this season. Hero Canoe, you're gonna have to pay him. You have to pay him because he's been good. He's been, he and Alex January and Murad Watson. If that's your defensive tackle rotation next year, you're liking that. And Josiah Sharma's coming. Josiah Sharma will step in where Cole Brevard steps out. So, you feel pretty good about that position. Lance Jackson is the heir apparent to Ethan Burke and has the body and the playmaking to do it. Just needs to be a little better. The reason Ethan Burke is so good, and watch him in this game, is that he doesn't give up his gap when he rushes. He pushes guys backwards and stays right where he needs to be to defend the run. So that if a running back comes anywhere near him, he just sheds his block and jumps on the running back. So that's where Lance Jackson's got to take. We know Lance Jackson he's got some pass rush moves. Can he defend the run like Ethan Burke has? And that's where, but he'll take that next step. He should. I feel pretty confident he'll take that next step.
What have you been hearing about Justice Terry and his development?
Yeah, he's coming. I mean, they're playing him more.
Yeah, I've seen him on the field a little bit.
And he's playing some at defensive tackle. They're getting him into the mix. Let's see here. Justice Terry. He's got 39 snaps. Levon Johnson has 43. So outside of the primary 5 rotation, Justice Terry's like right next to he's coming. All right. And he's playing pretty well. I mean, he's he's going to be a player for sure. I mean, I'm real interested to see what Canoe does because Texas lists him as a senior. I asked him point blank, are you a redshirt junior? And he said, yeah. And, it's too early to say, why does Texas list you as a senior? Like,
is that or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that would help. That would help if he returns because he's been really good.
I did not expect him to be the best interior defensive lineman. Like, that's no offense to him. I wasn't on the calling card, in my opinion, because people forget he hasn't played football that long.
Right.
Like, he's from the UK. I forget
Germany.
how he got here. Say what?
He's from Germany.
Yeah, Germany. Excuse me, Europe. So, again, he just hasn't played football that long. And for him to be as effective as he is and just tough, and they have a lot of confidence in him too. If they didn't, they wouldn't let him speak to the media. Right. He's become a leader and somebody that has earned the trust of his peers in that locker room. And again, kudos to him because I did not see that coming. I thought he would kind of have to ease his way into, just the culture and the system, and he'd get some reps, but the amount of reps that he has compared to the rest of the defensive tackles, it's nuts. It's clear and beyond noticeable that he's the main guy that Pete Kwiatkowski and Sark trust more than anybody else. And he's earned that with his hard work and production.
Yeah. All right. CB says he sent us the video of the St. Brown punch.
St. Brown. I don't know if we could play that, CB, because That's 4-letter network. You know
Oh.
how they've been doing.
Even if we give them credit?
Huh?
Even if we give them credit?
Yeah. They don't like us playing games
Oh.
on YouTube. You know they ain't got the best relationship with YouTube right now anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So we don't want to come in between that at all to where they gonna cost us any.
Well,
But
and for those wondering, Hank South normally comes on Tuesdays. He's on a field trip with his daughter, so we'll get him on tomorrow.
that's cute.
Yeah, little daddy-daughter time. You gotta love that.
Yeah.
What
was your favorite field trip as a kid?
We went to Chicago. So from Kalamazoo, we went to Chicago, went to the museums there, the Museum of Science and Industry, which is just incredible. Yeah, that was
how old were you?
I want to say that was high school.
Oh, high school.
Yeah.
I don't think we took field trips in high school.
Well, and part of it was I was in the choir.
You could sing?
Well, yeah. And we went to a Broadway show in Chicago as well. So, yeah.
Okay.
That's why we took that field trip.
Do you ever,
trying to hit on one of the girls in the choir who's smoke show.
Oh, so that's why you're in the choir.
Yeah, because that's a 3-hour drive. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel you.
How about you?
NASA 1 year.
I've never been.
Yeah, it was cool. I had no idea what they were talking about, but it was cool. H-Town, not like a little Houston road trip from the ATX.
I mean, NASA is out in the boonies.
Yeah, it's out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember them charter bus rides.
Oh yeah. Rex, I was the lead in my senior year musical. I played Barnum in P.T. Barnum. So, yeah, I was a jock and a theater kid.
Damn. Versatile. I wish I went to the Buttercrust factory. We went to Bluebell 1 year in Brenham. That was dope. Y'all know how I feel about ice cream. That was it right there.
What's your Bluebell flavor right now?
It's 'tis the season, so the peppermint bark is what I'm on right now. Just peppermint flavor, a little chocolate, solid. Nothing too extravagant, but.
So, did you do a field trip to Brenham to the Bluebell ice cream?
Yes, man.
Your school did?
First grade, yes. Amazing.
First grade?
Like third, I think.
Third?
Amazing. It was amazing.
That's a haul.
To Brenham?
Like an hour and a half? 2 hours?
A little bit, but.
Okay.
I don't know, man. I was a fat kid, so I was locked in. Well, I'm still a fat kid, but I was locked in. Like anything else going on, I don't know what happened.
So how does it, like, I've been to the Dr. Pepper Museum in Waco. You get a little float at the end. It's nice. What kind of ice cream are you getting on the Bluebell tour?
They have like a little store
at the end.
I don't know if it's we got it at the end, but
so you get like 2 scoops in a cup.
Yeah, no, they do dollar scoops till this day. It's never changed. Like if you go right now to the Bluebell factory in Brenham and you go to their store, dollar scoops. It's amazing. Like I appreciate Bluebell for that because inflation be bugging. So Bluebell was like, nah, we ain't dealing with that. We gonna keep
$5, 5 scoops.
Yeah, man. So Yeah, it was legendary.
Nice.
See, I'm
You
not
and
that old. I don't remember that old Austin kids. No, Brother Crust Bakery off airport. Yo, I need to ask my mama about that
wow.
because I remember hearing stuff like that, and that was never my age group. I don't know when the Buttercrust factory, like when it became vacant, but we never did that. That sounds awesome.
So when I went to SMU, Mrs. Baird's bread had I want to say not factory, but they had a location where they were baking their bread right across the street from the campus. It was right on Central Expressway. Now the SMU Tennis Center is there. But when I was there, Mrs. Baird's bread was baking across the street, and it smelled so good.
Man.
It was, you knew exactly when they were baking
Yeah.
because you could smell that bread. And it was awesome. It's like one of the most indelible memories I have from my time on campus was Mrs. Baird's bread baking right across the street.
Man. That's good times right there.
That was good times.
Times, man.
That was good times. Yeah. Those memories.
Those memories. By the way, LSU, y'all are wrong for trying to make Brian Kelly take that pay cut. Brian Kelly, good for you for saying, hell no, I want all my $54 million. Y'all are tripping. Why would I help y'all? After how y'all just did me? No. Y'all
Well, I
want
thought there was like if he agreed to take less, they'd give it to him all up front as opposed to paid out over the years.
Nah, he can wait. Where he going?
Yeah.
He can wait. He'll be fine.
You know, it's like that. It's like when you say when you get a lottery ticket, you want the cash option or the annuity. You're going to get a little less up front in the cash option, but you get it all at once. Brian Kelly's like, yeah, I'm fine.
I'm good.
I can make sure that, my kids have a little something.
Yeah. And I would show up to pick it up in person if I could. I show up, say what's up to everybody.
Hey, how's it going?
Tip everybody on the way out too, real petty. Tip everybody like 50, just random folks, kids walking down the street, students, just tipping random people. Like, you good? There, get yourself a bite to eat later on. Yeah, Brian Kelly. And I do that fake ass Louisiana accent while doing it too.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was so good.
It's classic.
That's classic.
Yeah.
That's classic.
Yeah, Steve, I need you to get on them LSU recruits, bro.
Ooh.
LSU, Florida, Arkansas, whoever. Like, get these guys in because they already recruit Florida and Louisiana well. Like, shouldn't be nothing.
Right.
Like,
all right, let's get a couple mentions in here. We'll get headed toward the commentary. And hey, cannot say enough about my move from one supplement to the Humann supplements, the Super Beats Heart Chews. Can't say enough about them. I mean, so when I went to the press conference that Humann had at the beginning of the football season, when they became, a title sponsor with their name on the football field, I started looking into Humann because I'm like, okay, so the UT athletes are taking the Super Beats powder, and so I went all in. I'm like, give it to me. Let me try it all. And can't say enough about the Super Beats Heart Chews. Totally recommend the Super Beats sports powder that the UT athletes take, and the turmeric chews, which help with inflammation. But the Super Beats Heart Chews, I mean, studies have shown that the Super Beats Heart Chews promote healthy blood pressure nearly 2 times more effectively than just diet and exercise alone. That's a big deal. You know, if you've ever had issues with blood pressure, I would say you need to give the Super Beats Heart Chews a go. And the Glynocalyx, which I call the Humann super multivitamin, but it's better than that. And it's the number one cardiologist recommended beat brand for heart health. Humann. I mean, they've got the science behind them too. And that's the other thing that is so cool, is that Humann was founded in partnership with the University of Texas Health Science Center. You know, award-winning research at Texas led to the development of the Humann products. So here's the great thing, the best thing is that you go to humann.com, Humann with 2 N's.com/TSU, and enter the promo code TSU at checkout, get an extra 20% off your first order. So load up. I would load up on the Super Beats Heart Chews, the Super Beats Sports Powder. I take that 30 minutes before I go out to play tennis or work out. The turmeric chews help with inflammation, the Glynocalyx, and you'll feel so much better. Your body will feel better. Your mind, the brain fog will go away. Humann.com, Humann with 2 N's.com/TSU. Use promo code TSU. Get that extra 20% off your first order. And hey, our guy, Tom McKay at Audiovisual Consultations. When you're ready for the big screen of your dreams, he's ready for you. All you got to do is call 255-8678. Tom and his crew are going to bring everything to you. It's going to bring you the best price on big screens. You don't need to be waiting around for Black Friday and putting on elbow pads, trying to, get some 80-inch TV out to your truck. Just call 255-8678. Tom's going to bring you the best price on big screens. He's going to set you up with surround sound, electronic shades, surveillance, new lighting. He can do it all. Just call 255-8678 or visit avconsultations.com. And hey, happy hour every day at Cover 3 from 3:30 to 6:30, and happy hour 3:30 to close on Mondays. But look, great food, high-end food without the high-end prices, great service, great vibe. That's why I love Cover 3. It's my ultimate hangout right there. Cover 3 Anderson, Cover 3 Round Rock. And look, they're going to take care of you. You're going to love it. And oh, by the way, you can check out your favorite team when they're playing, because it's great food and you got the big screen TVs for your sports watching. Dining spirits in sports. Cover 3. All right, Zay. You haven't had a chance to look at the video of Amon-Ra, allegedly. I don't know what the video shows. CB.
His punch? Yeah, CB, where'd you send that, by the way? Because if it's Twitter, I don't see nothing.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
Send that again for me, boss, because we can play it on bootleg from Twitter. We can't have it pop up like as a video like I could play, like I like to play. So,
yeah.
I don't know, man. you know,
Happy.
I saw a salty team getting pissed off, and Amira took a shot. Like, it happens. It happens. Amira is annoying in the best way. Like, I get why guys can be annoyed by Amira St. Brown. He does a lot of dancing, and he's cold as hell. Yeah, that pisses you off. And like we said yesterday, he will block the hell out of your ass. So a lot of these other receivers out here, these divas, that if they're not catching the ball, they're not involved in the play, Amara ain't that guy. He gonna come hit you for no reason, even if the play's way over there and you and him are right here. Until that whistle's blown, it's football. So yeah, I'm not surprised. To be honest, I'm shocked that it didn't happen sooner.
Yeah.
I watch Amara a lot, just like you. Like, that dude, he plays the game the way that it should be. And certain guys, they don't like that because they're not used to receivers acting like that.
So this is the same thing that, you know, Brian Branch was dealing with, where he got jacked in the back.
All right. There it is. We can watch it on bootleg here. All right, he gets shoved. Yeah, he threw a little shot. Ooh. Ooh.
Okay.
Ooh. But it's because of the shove, though. Like, it wasn't like he instigated it. If he didn't get shoved, yeah, that's a wild punch, though. Right there. There's that shove. He fires back. My man gets him. He gets in his face. Then he gets him with a cool shot. So,
Okay.
yeah. He might get a little check in the mail. You know, he might get a little check in the mail. That's all right.
Yeah.
That's all right. He can't be no punk. But he didn't instigate it, though. Like, it wasn't like Amara just came out of nowhere and started swinging, you know?
Yeah.
That's it, yeah.
Hey, man. Amon Ra. Because he saw Deron Payne coming up. When Payne punched him, he was willing to take it for the team. And sure enough, Deron Payne got ejected, suspended. So,
yeah. And who knows? My man Payne, he could have said something to Amara in German. Been real disrespectful. You know? Cross that line.
Here we go with the conjuring.
You know it's got to happen. You know the conjuring's got to happen a little bit. All I could do is speculate. I don't know. But what if he said something about his mama in German?
Oof.
There's certain lines that you cross where they're just fighting words. For others, it might not be fighting words. But for some, you might have pressed that button where, oh, man, I got to crash out. It's got to pop off right here. I don't care what's going on, who's around, where we are. It's going down. So,
well, this week is Lions and Eagles.
God, that game was ugly last night.
Yeah.
I mean, a win's a win, Philly, but I'd rather watch paint dry. Like, that was a rough one.
10-7. Philly in Green Bay. I'll tell you what, man. The NFC North, you got the Lions and Bears both at 6-3. Packers are 5-3-1. And the Vikings are 4-5. How about the Chicago Bears?
Your boy Ben getting it done.
Yeah, they got smacked around by the Lions 52-21, and they've been They've been winning. Of course, here's who the Bears have beaten: the Cowboys, the Raiders, the Commanders, the Saints. I mean, it's not exactly the.
Who else though? They've had 2 more wins. Who
Beat the
else?
Bengals, and then they beat the Giants.
Damn, they haven't beat nobody.
Yeah. So now they finish with the Vikings, Steelers, Eagles, Packers, Browns, Packers again, 49ers, and Lions in the final game of the season.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's how it's designed. Like when you have a 4th place schedule, your schedule is going to be a lot easier than others. So, I mean, they're not complaining, but yeah, they ain't playing nobody. Coastin Loveland's good. That dude, that's a good tight end. I was very salty that he got picked over Gunnar Helm, but I get it, I guess. He can play.
yeah, he's lovely. Yeah, he's got 21 catches, 289 yards, 2 touchdowns. Roma Dunze's coming on. He's got 6 touchdowns. I'm sure Terrence Brooks.
Yeah. Hope he's doing well.
Yeah, I hope he's doing okay.
I don't know where he is, but I hope he's doing well. Roma Dunze's father is flat out ignorant. He's one of those fathers that's always on Twitter posting about his son. Yes, he be what I'm talking about. Posting about his son, you know, how he should get all these touches and the offense ain't being ran right. So much so, Chip, Roma Dunze, he said it with the media. He was like, thanks, Dad, because now Roma Dunze's starting to get looks and stuff. So he made a joke out of it. He was like, thanks, Dad, appreciate you. And the media, everybody got a good laugh out of it. And it was a cute moment. Like, I appreciate Roma Dunze, you know, making something that's very dark. Let's not get it twisted. It looks good now, but wait till you start playing like crap. And wait till the Bears start looking like the Bears again. And Roma Dunze's dad is still going crazy with the Twitter fingers. See how much fun you would having with media then. Because it won't be fun. But
how you feeling about Michael Penix?
The Colts was a tough loss. And I can't be mad losing to the Colts because, you know, my girl, Collier Gordon, the queen of the NFL right now, I want her to succeed. And the rest of her sisters in that Irsay family. It's a beautiful story. And Daniel Jones, he's definitely most improved this year. I don't know if Raheem Morris is the dude. Michael Penix, he's all right. This is his first real year starting, so I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt there. They still don't give Bijan Robinson the ball enough. Like, I get they have Algier there, but come on. They shouldn't be this bad. They shouldn't be, 3-7? What are they? They shouldn't be that bad. So that's a good point, CB. Like Jonathan Taylor, I see him doing that weird stomp and dance every time he gets to the end zone because he's always in the end zone. You know, he had the game winner against Atlanta the other day. So Drake London's good. Like, they can put up points. Their defense I don't know. Their pass rush isn't the best. So we'll give Michael Penix a little bit more time, but next year might be it. If he pulls this BS next year, it might have just been one of those misses that you see every so often. Like certain guys they look good coming out of college. You think that, this is the guy that's going to change my franchise. And yeah, Ryan Leaf could tell you that ain't always the case.
Taquan Graham still playing with the with the Falcons.
Like their best defensive players are the rookies, Jalen Walker and James Pierce from Tennessee. They're their best players. That's not good. Like for the future, yeah, but for right now, if your best players are rookies on your front seven, because those guys are going to have rookie mistakes. But yeah. Yeah, and I don't know about Kyle Pitts either. Like, he might be one of those dudes that doesn't pop off either. Like, why all the hype that he had coming out of Florida, it just hasn't been able to translate to the pro level. And I don't know. Michael Penix wants to give him the ball. They hung out all summer. That's all I heard from Atlanta media. Oh, Michael Penix Jr. and Kyle Pitts are such good friends. They go to each other's barbecues and hang out together and do activities and chores and run errands together and whatever the hell they do. And it still hasn't amounted to anything.
Oh yeah, Taquan Graham, I guess. What did he get traded? He's with the Eagles. He's got stats with the Falcons this year. That's weird. All right. Let's get to the chip shot. And I'm going to do a little touch on a couple things. I saw where the initial weather report for Athens, it's apparently going to be 72 as a high on Saturday. I know there was like snow in Atlanta.
Hell no.
Yesterday. And I was like, what is going on? But it's supposed to be a high of 72. Now the game will kick off at 6:30. It'll start getting colder again, but I don't think it's going to be 36. So let's get that right. By the way, that is Dallas Wilson. Texas was recruiting him. And I'm told they could have had him, but they didn't opt to go in that direction. So
what he was asking for, they weren't willing to give him.
I think they were committing money elsewhere, like to Khalil Lockett, Jamie French, and Michael Terry. And so
all right.
That's that. You win some, you lose some. But
no, not only did you lose, that could be the reason why you're not in the college football playoff. Right. It's all said and done. So yeah, that takes losing to a whole nother level.
Yeah. And look, they're probably going to keep dipping into the portal at receiver. I mean, I know they wanted to load up with high school guys and grow them in their system. We'll see how it goes. I mean, some of those guys probably don't have a very long patience, attention span, if you will. So we'll see. I mean, it's a different world out there in the age of NIL and the transfer portal. Sarkisian's been able to hang on to the guys he's wanted to hang on to. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But I got to say, this is going to be an unbelievable atmosphere in Sanford Stadium. I had the good fortune of going to Georgia. I was doing a story on T. Boone Pickens and his massive, and this is when I was with the Dallas Morning News, and his $365 million investment in Oklahoma State athletics, including, Zay, you'll appreciate this. He got 8-foot mattresses for the basketball team.
Nice.
So, I mean, Boone was doing it. And so I got to fly on his Gulfstream. They picked me up in Austin. And like he lived in Pampa, Texas, West Texas. And he had an airstrip. Well, he's no longer with us, but he had an airstrip at his house. So his airplane takes off from his house, picks me up in Austin, picks up some other people in Dallas, and then away we go to Athens. And I'm on that flight interviewing him. This was one of the great interviews I've had in my career. Right up there with Mike Judge, who created Beavis and Butthead. That was probably number one. Boone Pickens might be number two. Because I asked him, what's it take to be a billionaire? And he said, which time?
Man.
And I said, okay, tell me about it. And he said, well, I got to $1 billion. And then oil and gas went belly up. I went all the way down. He told me he was down to 300,000. And then he started his own hedge fund. He, got into water rights and got it back up to $1 billion. And he's funny as all get out. He's the one who got Mike Holder, the golf coach at Oklahoma State, to become the athletic director. Holder won 9 national championships in men's golf. And Pickens was like, we need you to run the athletic department. You're riding around with your feet on the handlebars as golf coach. You've already done that. So it's time for you to take the next step. He did. And so the thing I remember most was we went into Sanford Stadium and I was embedded with him. So I went into the locker room with him when he is talking to the players. So I've been in the visitors' locker room at Sanford Stadium, and it is something else. And those hedges are like thick, and if you run into them, you're getting cut up. Like those are not some little, flat bushes that you can just trample. Those things are like little trees. So it's impressive, these hedges. I'm like, that's got to be annoying as bleep if you run out of bounds and get into those hedges. But it looks cool. It's different. They're not the only ones, but it's totally different. I mean, you capitalize between the hedges because it's a trademarked thing for Georgia, and it's wild. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to going back. It's my first time being back since the early 2000s, and I'm interested to see how things have changed, because it's that whole town is all about Georgia football and players who speed.
Yo, man.
That's what it's all about. So we'll
there hasn't been much trouble lately.
Not lately.
There's still some days in the year though.
Yeah, so this was funny. We had Boone Pickens on my radio show with Sean Adams, and every time Boone Pickens' name got mentioned, they had a service that would clip, whether it was on the radio, on TV, and they would let me know. They'd text me and be like, all right, you talking about Boone today? I'm like, yeah, I'm talking about Boone. It was so funny, but he was always, aware of people talking about him, and in what context, because he had a reputation as a green mailer not early, but in the 90s, early 90s. He had a reputation for, making it look like his company was going to buy a company. The stock would go up and, Boone Pickens would benefit from that and then sell the stock and then never buy the company, what they call green mailing. So he was always, trying to be aware of his reputation, but super. And then his fifth wife was Madeline Pickens, who was married to Alan Paulson, who created Gulfstream Aircraft. That was a merger. When Boone Pickens and Madeline got married, she owned, because she inherited everything when Alan died. She had like Kentucky Derby winning racehorses, like Rock Hard 10 and Azucar. And so, yeah, Boone Pickens. That's how I got to Sanford. That's how I got to Sanford Stadium in the early 2000s, Zay.
Wow.
And looking forward to seeing how things have changed. You know what I'm saying?
So 5 wives. So how?
I know.
What?
I know.
All right.
I know.
All right.
All right, let's get to the right call.
Right call. Before that, though, I gotta give a shout out to Covert Bee Cave, the best of the business. Trust me, I know. We got our Buick Encore GT at Covert Bee Cave, and it's quite lovely, if I must say. You don't want to take my word for it for how great Covert Bee Cave is? Listen to these fine folks at Covert Bee Cave.
I don't have to worry about shopping for mechanics to make sure it's done and done right. I come up here, I'm in, I'm out. They give me a loaner sometimes, and it's hassle-free.
If you have any questions, they'll go ahead and help you out and educate you. They're not just here just to sell you a vehicle. They're here to build a relationship.
They treat you like family, and then they make the experience what you want it to be, not what they want it to be.
Covert, born and raised in Austin,
where you are always treated like family.
Nobody beats a Covert deal. Not now, not ever. All right, Shep. So I didn't show you this yesterday, but some of the Texas Longhorns went to the Spurs game this past weekend during their bye week. Parker Livingston was there, as you can see in this photo. Arch Manning, who got a flick with Victor Wembanyama. They jersey swapped, but for some reason, Vic is wearing an Arch Manning Spurs jersey. Little confused there. I don't know why Arch couldn't bring him an icy white Texas jersey that they could have swapped on. But hey, either way, great photo. Arch Manning's tall. Arch Manning's smooth 6'4", maybe 6'5", depending on who you ask. And just like Victor Wembanyama makes everybody look, Arch Manning looks tiny in this photo. But cool pick, man. Cool pick.
Yeah,
man.
that's savage. That's savage that he got that Wembanyama jersey all signed up. I mean, it's nice to be Arch Manning.
Yeah, and they played the Rockets, so there's a Kevin Durant picture going around of Arch Manning and Parker Livingston, and I don't know who else was there. I don't know if it was just their friends or not. I couldn't recognize anybody else that would possibly be on that Texas football team, but yeah, great stuff right there. Okay, so I'm going to show you what NBA money can do for a guy, and I'm also going to show you what guys can do in the worst way with the NBA money that they have. So what would you rather see first, the good or the bad?
Oh, give me the bad first.
Give you the bad first. Okay. So Sebastian Telfair. You remember Sebastian Telfair, New York City point guard. He went straight to the league from high school. It was right after LeBron. He was a big deal because he was from Brooklyn. So he had that New York flair and charisma and just being cool. And we know New York, don't ask Indiana folks this, but New York is the mecca of basketball. So he had a documentary that went like triple platinum in the hood and stuff. Like Sebastian Telfair, he wasn't anything close to Allen Iverson, but people thought he was going to be that. People thought he was going to be a hood legend. Well, it didn't quite go that way. I know you're big on this. He made, according to the Googles, approximately $19 million in NBA salary money. Also made an estimated amount of $15 million in endorsements. And now, Chip, he put out a video that came out last week that shows him living back in the New York projects. Check it out.
We ain't sugarcoat nothing. Look, we ain't got no keys. This is how you get your mail. That's how you get your mail. You ain't got no mail? We good. Can't come in here by yourself. You gotta sign a waiver to come in 2940. I'm gonna show y'all the inside. You hear? Let's go. Shit's a culture shock, but I ain't gonna lie, me coming back to the projects was a gift. It was a gift and a curse, but more of a gift, tell you the truth. I really wanted to show the world exactly how I'm living. Being in the project is all a mental thing also, you know what I'm saying? But shit is definitely real. This is the kitchen right here and shit. The shit get lit at, take care of yourself.
All right, I can't keep watching it. Isn't that depressing? Like, that's so depressing, man. Like, the dude's made over $30 million in NBA salary and endorsements, and he's back in the projects of Brooklyn talking about it's a gift and a curse being back in the projects. What happened? What happened? Like, we talk about Vince Young all the time. We talk about these stories all the time about how these guys go broke and just are very, very immature with their money. And again, Sebastian Telfair, when he was coming out of high school, I thought he was going to be the truth. I really did. Like, the way they were hyping him up. And again, that documentary that he had, Chip, as a high schooler, I think it was called like Beyond the Wire, something like that. They were playing it on ESPN and stuff. It was kind of like Hoop Dreams, but none of the negative cracked out father and stuff like that. It was like if Hoop Dreams was straight up positive, that's what that documentary on Sebastian Telfair going from high school to the NBA was like.
I will show me the good one.
Okay, the good one, Reggie Bullock. You remember Reggie Bullock? North Carolina player. He's done a little bit better than Sebastian Telfair. He's made, according to the Googles, over $53 million throughout his NBA career. And this fool has his own freaking island, which is located in Belize. Apparently, it's a 5-acre island called Bullock Island. The way you get there is you fly to Belize City. You take a short flight to Palencia, and then you take a 10-minute boat ride to the island. Check it
Welcome
out.
here to Bullock Island.
One-on-one pull up with tens. One-on-one never again. One-on-one get the cake in the butter. I kinda like hustle the money all in.
These are the Belizean KDs.
Put in the trunk you can hear. Ain't all about how they want me to lose, but I'm W due for a win. Stroking the slow and the pudge, I'm helping the snow.
The mega bed.
From a dummy, you see how I'm coming, you tip me, I'm right on the edge. Guinness is young and I've been had to shoot out some money all under my bed.
So, as you see, Reggie Bullock living a little different than Sebastian Telfair.
Where's Bullock from?
I don't know.
That's impressive.
Isn't that impressive?
Although, how much time is he actually spending? I mean, like, can he Airbnb that stuff for like 10 grand a night? Because that's a good way to write stuff off. I know that.
He's from Kingston, North Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely rent that out. Like, I'm sure he has some connections. You know, I'm sure the owner of, I don't know who he plays for right now, but they would love to go stay there for a week or two. You know, your own island. And you could stay there in the off season. You saw the basketball court. It's not like you can't train there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but man, you're going to be lonely out there. It's not like you can just, you got to take a little boat back in.
This is the league. You fly out like 5 honeys at a time.
Right.
You won't be lonely then.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, what? You got your own island. I'm sure a few honeys would like to see what the island's about. I don't know.
Let's talk. Let's talk in 5 years. All right, let's bring in the fellas. Open up the gym, and I got to bounce because I need to jump on this conference call. But I'll see you tomorrow.
We'll see y'all tomorrow. Appreciate you guys. Welcome into Open Gym here on Texas Sports Unfiltered. Myself, Patrick Davis, alongside Matt Galatzan of Texas Longhorns on SI. And, of course, you, the third member of Open Gym. Text line's open, 512-222-9328. And over there on the chat, Facebook, Twitch, X, and on YouTube is where you can find us to join the conversation. If you're on YouTube, we love it if you give us a like and a subscribe. We appreciate you joining us. Matt, starting out the show, of course, first things first, happy Veterans Day. Thank you to everyone who has served. Very important to start that off. We do want to say thank you to everyone who has served the U.S. and thank you for your service. And then the more important part for Matt is the day has come, Matt. The first domino to fall, and Matt may be watching the NBA once again at some point in his life. Nico Harrison was fired today by the Dallas Mavericks, Matt.
Yes, thank you to all the veterans out there. Both of my grandfathers served in the military. Rest their souls. So thank you to everybody out there who does the same. What a beautiful, beautiful day, Patrick. It is the reckoning. It is the F around and find out day for Nico Harrison. Eventually the bill was going to come due. You made a horrible mistake. You put yourself above everybody else. You tried to make yourself the star of the show. You didn't listen to anybody else's advice. You ruined the sports lives of so many people in Dallas. Luka was the favored son in all of Dallas sports. Everyone loved him. You shipped him off for a box of Cracker Jacks and a guy who can't stay healthy. And now you're facing the consequences. And, I thought that I was happy when Hugh Freeze got fired, Patrick.
Oh, man, and within, a week and a half of each other?
It's like I'm sitting down at my birthday dinner and two waiters both bring me a giant piece of red velvet cake with cream cheese icing. And then they bring me a bottle of bourbon and a stack of stack of $10,000, and they're just like, have a day, have a week, Matt. We don't care. It's a tremendous day for Dallas sports. It's a tremendous day for Mavericks fans. We did it. Patrick Dumont hurt us.
All right, so let me ask you this. I don't want to take all the joy out of it because we know Nico Harrison should have been fired. He did an egregious offense, and they had to go. How much of this is Nico Harrison being the scapegoat for something else? Or how much of this do you really believe was Nico Harrison was a guy? Because it feels like kind of the statements from the Dumonts and the stuff we've gotten that it feels kind of more in the fact of, well, we weren't against trading Luka. He should have talked us out of it. His job was to tell us how bad it would be if we did it. Not, hey, all of us thought this was a bad idea and he talked us into it. It was more, he should have talked us out of it. So are you saying it was Nico's idea more, or is it Nico should have been the one to go, I will not work for a franchise to trade away our greatest player? That's a dumb idea. It's a generational talent.
Well, it sounds like this whole thing was his idea.
But that's the thing, is it's been framed that way since before. The original reports were that this was the power play that by the Dumonts to hold the Mavericks hostage against the Texas government. That then fizzled out. So I don't know how much that was true at the time or how much of that money was able to kind of quell. And then they were like, no, it was Nico. Because Nico also came out and did the interviews after and really made it seem like it was his idea.
It's his idea in my book.
Okay.
This is how I kind of look at it. Whether it was the power play with the Texas government or not, I don't know about that. What I do know is that he really took it and really ran with it and made it seem like I am the star of the show. I am the one who came up with this grand plan to fix, in big air quotes, fix the Dallas Mavericks, who had just made a Western Conference Finals and an NBA Finals appearance over the last couple seasons before that. So if you want to be the champion of the worst idea in the history of the NBA, then you get the credit for it. And the Dumonts aren't basketball people.
No.
They don't know anything other than dollar signs. So when you buy a team and you don't really know much about the sport or the players or the city's love for the player or what he means to the franchise, any of that stuff, your natural inclination is going to be to trust the GM because he's been there already. So it's like, oh, well, you think this is a good idea? Okay, yeah, we're with you. I don't have a problem with them. I mean, are they completely void of fault? Absolutely not. Like, they should have known better. But this was all Nico's grand plan in my book. And not only was that his plan, but also part of his plan was alienating the greatest player in the history of the franchise in Dirk Nowitzki.
Yes.
Great idea. All of the moves that he made gave you this roster minus Cooper Flag, because he doesn't deserve credit for Cooper Flag. That was the luck of the luck of the draw. So you walk into the season with an Anthony Davis that can't stay healthy, Kyrie Irving who's out for half the year. You don't have a point guard. You can't move the ball. You can't create. You can't stop anybody defensively, even though your mantra is defense wins championships. It's a historical screw up that you deserve all of the blame for. And I don't think that he deserves any sympathy, because it's not like he's an idiot. He was working for Nike. He brokered a bunch of deals. I know he screwed up the Steph Curry thing, whatever. He did a good job of building that roster into an NBA Finals contender. He really did. And then he let his ego and his, all of those things get in the way because he wanted this to be his franchise, not Luka's. And that's what ultimately ended up really putting the nail in his coffin. And now we're 3 years away from the 2028 NBA free agency class, where Luka becomes an unrestricted free agent. Come home, buddy.
He's never going to be he will never be a free agent again in his life.
Probably not, but he could be.
He could be. He will never be. Just there's some of those guys. Like Giannis is the other example of a guy that we saw in Milwaukee. Everyone this offseason was like, you should trade him. You should trade him. You should trade him. And they're like, no, he is our franchise. He won us a title. We have to keep Giannis. I get it, maybe a little bit to rebuild and we got to do all these other things, but we can't let go of the greatest player in our franchise's history. We don't want to let
franchises do business, Patrick.
And so, yes, Dallas today, getting rid of it. I wonder if they're going to do something about like what the chant will be from the crowd in this next game to show their approval that this was done. But something will be done by the fans in this next game when they play, that they'll be like, yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for getting rid of a guy who traded our best player. Now, I guarantee the thought will be, yes, Katie's toe is a little bit too big. and cost him a title there, cost him a shot at a title, and Milwaukee goes on and gets the win. But no, I you'll get these sentiments. Chad on the text side says, bring Luka back. You can't, because you have I mean, you could offer them Cooper Flag, Kyrie Irving, and Anthony Davis, and they're probably not taking it.
Because they're not as stupid as you are.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like, you're offering them double what they offered you, and they'll still be like, oh, no, we have a generational talent.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of these in the NBA. You know, you don't necessarily get these every time. So we really, really need to get the ones we have and keep them when you do get them. Because, you know, Giannis's and Wimby's and Luka's don't grow on trees. SGA is not a generational talent. SGA is a great player, but he is not a freakish talent in that sense, or at least has not become that yet.
Yeah.
So I think that there's something to be said for what they got to do. But now the questions are going to pop up of, okay, now that Nico's gone, what do the Mavs actually have to do, and what can you actually do with this Mavs team? Because there's the question of, you know, is this now, can we now trade Anthony Davis? Can we now go put him on the chopping block and go, dude, we never really wanted you. No one wanted you here. I'm sorry. This is not a you problem. This is a Dallas problem. You need to leave so we can forget about what happened. You are part of the problem. I feel like that could possibly be a thing to move off, try and go get a shooting guard because Klay Thompson's washed as well. So go get somebody to play in that role. Wait for Kyrie Irving to come back, and then you have Kyrie Irving, a shooting guard. If you especially get someone a little bit younger who plays shooting guard, then you have Kyrie Irving to, you know, play out the rest of his years with you. Shooting guard, Cooper Flag, PJ Washington, Derek Lively. You feel a little bit better about that lineup. Feel like, okay, this is closer to what we had. Now, that shooting guard won't be Luka, so you're going to end up in a deficit at the end of the day. But I think now the questions become, what do you do with the Mavericks to try and figure out? It's going to take them a little while before they do anything. Anthony Davis, again, I mean, he wouldn't pass a physical today, I don't think. He's got to get healthy. Throw in the fact that you don't have a new GM yet. You don't have all that figured out. So nothing's going to happen imminently. But I would not shock me at all if Anthony Davis is not on this roster at the year's end.
Here's what I would do. Fire Jason Kidd whenever you feel is fit, because nothing's happening this year. Like,
I was surprised Jason Kidd didn't get fired before Nico Harrison. I thought it would go the other way, but
yeah. Or sometimes those things happen like kind of in tandem.
Yeah.
Fire the coach and the team at the same time. That's what I thought was going to happen, but just based on the way that Tim McMahon and Mark Stein were talking about it, it just seemed like Nico was the target, and that's fine. You still need to fire Jason Kidd. By the way, how awesome would this roster have been like 6 years ago? Kyrie, Klay Thompson, Anthony Davis. That would have been an awesome team like forever ago.
It would have. It would have been really good if they could all stay healthy. A massive amount of injuries, they would have been really, really good.
But yeah, fire Jason Kidd, trade Anthony Davis for whatever you can get for him. Probably not going to be as much as you hope. Honestly, I'd blow it up and I'd trade everybody that you possibly can outside of like Cooper Flag and Derek Lively and maybe one or two other guys. And you just have to rebuild from scratch because Nico ruined it.
The big question is now, Matt, are you back to being a Mavs fan, or are you still sore about it to wait for it?
I'm still sore about it, but I don't hate them anymore because they did what I asked them to do.
Okay. So
this is very similar to your Houston Texans.
Yes. Bill O'Brien, which again is it's a same thing, and it happens in sports all the time, which is you have guys that are working hard in one way and in the office every day and doing this and on the phones and sitting around, and they don't necessarily see the work ethic out of a generational talent or a really, really good player. And then they go, oh, well, that guy's not working as hard as I'm working, so they must be a waste of space, and I need to get rid of them because they're the problem. It can't be me. I can't be the problem. It can't be me. So I need to get rid of them, and that'll fix everything. Like, wait. So you're getting really, really good guy. Do you understand your job is to make that guy good? That's what you were hired to do.
Yeah.
And that was him giving up DeAndre Hopkins for a box of rocks. Was in that same realm of like, oh, this may be the best player that's like ever played for our franchise at that time. And
especially offensively.
I mean, Andre Johnson was amazing too, but it was just a different time and place between those two. But
imagine if Houston, even like, I know everybody loved DeAndre Hopkins. Imagine if Houston had traded JJ Watt in the prime of his career.
Oh yeah, no,
for nothing.
Lost your mind. We'd have lost our mind.
Yeah, but here's what else I would do. All the things I said, plus I would hire Dirk Nowitzki in some role in the front office. Don't hire him as the GM, but
but bring him back in.
Bring him back in, make him a part of the franchise, help him reestablish that culture. Hire JJ Barea as an assistant coach, maybe as the interim head coach. I don't know. I don't know what he's doing right now, but bring him back into the franchise in some capacity. You got to do things to get the fans back. That's the most important thing right now, I think. And if you bring those guys back into the fold, that's going to help tremendously. And I can tell you one thing that might be the chant at the next home game.
Okay.
And it's something that you may want to clip.
Okay.
And keep for our show. It's going to be, thank you, Patrick. Thank you, Patrick.
I don't know if he's going to get thanked, but I think there will be a thank you something. I think for firing Nico will be in there. I don't know if it'll be thank you, Patrick, but I do think it'll be somebody definitely.
Thank you, Patrick, because I would really like to clip that for our show. I really would.
I love it. Yeah. CB, I do not think they're moving to Vegas. I think there will be an expansion team that goes there. I just don't. I don't think the NBA would basically allow it to happen at this point. If the Mavs, really tried to tank the team and everything else, there could be where they're like, it'll just be better to redo it. And then, but I don't think there'll be an expansion team in Vegas and there'll be an expansion team in Seattle. Like that, as far as I can tell, is almost certainly done. The problem is they're trying to do it when they have all the owners where people are not going to keep selling, but there's so much money in it now. And a lot of these people bought their teams for like $25 million and they're now worth $6 billion. And they're like, well, it's kind of stupid for me to keep this team because my entire net worth is based on owning a team now, as opposed to the other model of buy a team and you'll make money. So I think they were just kind of waiting because people keep selling off teams and they're waiting for that to get done before they really go in the vote and try and bring in some more, because the reality is when you add 2 new teams, it devalues every other team.
Yeah.
So there's a process in that, but I don't think they're going to move to Vegas. Dallas is just too big of a market to do that to. The only reason that the A's moved to Vegas was because their owner is a complete jackass and Oakland was getting too big. And so he realized basically I can go to a place where I'll sell tickets every time without having to put together a decent product. I will be able to get a new arena, a new stadium. Plus, I will also then be able to get money on the back end because I'm starting to get to where my city's too big where I couldn't get the luxury tax given back to me that I'll get for like the Yankees and the Dodgers and all of those teams spending tons and tons more money. I'm supposed to get some of that luxury tax money, but because my population's too big, I'm supposed to be a good team. So I'm going to move to a much smaller market in Vegas, and then I'll be able to get more money that way. It's a complete business move. He has no business owning a sports team, and screw him because I hate owners of teams who don't want to win. It drives me nuts. So he moved there. As far as the Raiders, they just couldn't get a stadium because Mark Davis is not a businessman, really. So he was not able to put together a plan to get a new stadium. So his plan was basically, this city wants to bring me in. I'll go do that because Oakland is not going to give me a new stadium. And we desperately need to move to a decent stadium. So there's other reasons why teams move. The Mavs aren't there because they're about to get tons and tons of money from the city to fund a new whole area. The big thing they're having now is there's some dispute between the Mavs and the Stars about the arena, I believe. I think there's something with that right now. But they'll get plenty of money to stay in Dallas. So I don't think they're moving to Vegas. I think there will be a team there soon enough, though.
So, yes, I agree with you. I don't know how realistic it would be for the Mavericks to move the franchise to Vegas, but if for some reason they did, I think that the franchise would move, and then there would be an expansion team in Dallas called the Mavericks.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, that would be the thing. I think that was a possibility like 6 months ago. I don't think it is anymore. I think things have changed enough and where they're at that I don't think it'll be the case.
Here's just real quick. I just want to say one thing about Luka, and then we can move on to whatever else we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Great show for you guys today, by the way. But LeBron James, when he was 30 years old, opted out of his contract with the Miami Heat in 2014. And he returned to Cleveland, where, he's the hero, he's the favorite son, everybody loved him. He wanted to come home and win a title for the city of Cleveland. And in 2029 or 2028, Luka is going to be 29, 30. His birthday is in February, so I guess he'll be 29. He'll be 30 by the end of the year. Could opt out of his contract or whatever and become a free agent, just like his idol LeBron James, and come home just like his idol LeBron James, and get his favorite team, where he wants to be, a title.
I don't want to rain on anybody's parade. It's not happening. I don't know if the Mavs would have any chance to have any money to be able to sign him to a deal. I mean, now granted, I don't know where the CBA is going to be at that point either, but like, you have to sign to go. It would have to be a sign and trade of some sort. You have to send some stuff back, but you're going to have to pay Cooper Flagg before then. You're probably going to have to pay Derek Lively more before then. So you have to start paying some guys more before then, and that's going to kind of screw it all up. But look, who knows? Who knows?
If it happens, Patrick, you owe me a beer.
Okay, I'll get you a beer. Gladly, I'll buy you a beer if that happens. Good show today, though, Matt. We got Harrison Reno from UGA Sports coming on to talk a little bit, get us prepped for this Georgia game. Brooks Austin coming on tomorrow, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow, so a lot of prep to get us ready for Texas versus Georgia. We got Overreactions Tuesday coming up in the 5 o'clock hour as well. But let's get into a little Texas football talk now, Matt. And I wanted to get into this, throw it in there with you guys in the chat and you guys on the text line as well. Talking about kind of what your biggest worries are in this game. Because this one, I think more than a lot of other games we've played this season, there's not just from myself, but from a lot of other people I talked about, like object fears about this game and what could go wrong in it and what could go right. Now, I've already seen predictions coming out and things, and a lot of people giving it that it's close. I think most people are going Georgia because it is a safer bet. But a lot of people putting it close. I've not yet seen anybody be like, Texas isn't that team. Like, I haven't seen that prediction yet. This is not a Texas game, right? But I do think that the close game, maybe another overtime game for Texas. Again, I told you yesterday, Texas has not led after 4 quarters in a true road game this season. They've lost 2, they've won 2, both in overtime. So that is your biggest worry for me, or my biggest worry, I should say, for this game is the road play for Texas. So I'll start off with everybody in our group therapy session before we get to Harrison Reno. Of what the big worry is for me, it's this Texas team being really young, and I don't know if they figured out how to take the show on the road, how to play in hostile environments, especially in a night game, especially with all the spotlight on them. I don't know if this team is ready to step into that moment. Now, that factors in that there's a lot of things Georgia does really well that may hurt what Texas is going to try and do in this game. The run game is going to be really hard to pull off. Your offensive line, even though the sack numbers haven't been great for Georgia, the pressures are there, and the run stopping has been there. So offensively, it becomes a little bit harder. This is also a Texas team or a Georgia team that has a ton of speed on defense. That maybe some of these other games you were able to outrun or maneuver some other guys. That's going to be a lot harder against Georgia. So when everything has to kind of be going right, can you go on the road in a big moment game, primetime national television, and pull off what you're trying to pull off? And that, to me, I don't know if that's possible. And that, to me, is the biggest worry. And it's the question I'm going to ask you, Matt, about this is we know Sark, and he's been asked this question all the time for the last, 3-4 years. Sark has been asked about playing on the road in these big games and how he gets his team ready. And his response is always pretty much the same. We do what we always do. We have a system. We have a thing. We believe in it. And that's what we do. Is there a part of you, Matt, that believes this may need to be treated slightly differently because the results on the road haven't been what you want them to be? Or trust in the system, trust in Sark, and we just go? Or do you say, I don't know, man. I don't know because I don't think these guys are getting the picture that this team is going to come in and try and punch you as hard as they can right off the bat. And you don't seem to be ready for that fight when we kick off in road games.
I understand your fear. In fact, I agree with it wholeheartedly. They have not been good on the road this year at all. I think that what's being discounted a little bit, not necessarily by you, but I think by a lot of people, is what they've faced on the road the last couple weeks. They walked into those games with that kind of mentality of, oh, we're just going to walk over these guys. It's just a game against Kentucky. They weren't ready. Same thing with Mississippi State, even though they had literally just had the same situation against Kentucky. They were able to get by with talent and talent alone and a lot of luck. I think that those two games are a wake-up call for them on the road. I think they are going to treat it differently. Whether or not Sark admits it, that they're going to slightly adjust their preparation or their routine or whatever it is that goes into, what they do when they're going on the road. I think it is going to be a little bit different. But I do trust in Sark. I do trust him to have this team ready to play. I especially because I think this team matches up a lot better with this Georgia team than they did last year in a lot of different ways. But I don't think that on November 11th, with 3 games left in the regular season, that you can really do anything else but trust Sark and hope that they're ready to play. And the fear is going to be there because of what we've seen from them on the road so far. But I really do believe in the idea of learning through the fire, which is what they've done versus Kentucky and Mississippi State. So I think that those games and the way that they went are going to play dividends for this team heading into Athens. It's just my opinion. Obviously it's going to be a lot harder of a challenge. It's a better football team in every phase of the game than the teams you've played the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Every single phase of the game. So you got to show up.
And that's what I go back to. Is there a point in your brain that this is different? You should be more prepared for this. You should be more aware of what this game means. And I talked about it yesterday. It felt like there is that vibe in the locker room, or vibe at least from the building right now, that this team is starting to realize all the things early in the season. Maybe we did look ahead too often. Maybe the youth was not being able to go, the biggest game is this week. Maybe they didn't have that. And they were thinking, man, once we get to Georgia and A&M and those big games at the end of the year, Vanderbilt, maybe even at some point, but then we just got to get through Florida. We got to get through Florida. We got to get through Kentucky. We got to get through Mississippi State. Maybe some of those thoughts are there. It's still, it still just never felt to me like if that's the case, and now you're walking into this game and you still have confidence and you have everything else, I still maybe want something to feel different for this team to get them, just to make it so it wasn't, make it feel like this is the same road trip they did before they were players, that these guys went and traveled to wherever they were when they were freshmen and sophomore. and though they're big games they played on the road in those seasons. And they thought, well, it's great, but I'm not really playing. So I don't have the same mindset of my prep and everything I do on the road. Changing it up, knowing that when Sark says, well, you had a team that went into Alabama and won, and no one does that, he goes, yeah, but this ain't that team. Like, that is a very different team. And we can't base anything off our previous teams. Do you maybe look at that and say, we have to change up a little bit? Just change up a routine. Just take something and let them know that things are not going well enough for us to have that attitude, that we're just standard dynasty. We roll, we do what we do. Guys, we need to change this up, because if you guys don't bring your A+ game, you're going to lose tomorrow. You're going to lose. And that to me, I don't want to change a ton, but maybe just the order of operations a little bit. Take them out of a comfort zone. Don't let them feel like this is every other day for them, because you have one last real true road game this season. And if you lose it, I know 9-3 Texas could get in. I don't believe that still. I think they could. I think we're going to watch 2 weeks and then be vastly disappointed when all of the upsets we would need to happen don't happen. But I think that, you walk into that and go, this is, I know we say it's been an SEC championship game against Vanderbilt, and it was SEC championship game against Mississippi State, but it wasn't, because if we lost to them, we shouldn't have been anywhere near the SEC championship game. This is real. This is who we played in the SEC championship game last year. I just feel like you got to try and change that mindset before we get into this game a little bit more, because I know you don't want to ruin momentum of being able to be on a win streak, that you've been playing better, that you played well against Oklahoma, you played well against Vanderbilt. You don't want to ruin those good vibes. You had a great comeback against Mississippi State. Mm-hmm. But I do think there's something to be said for really driving home the point. This is important, and you guys are probably not ready for it. So stop pretending you are ready.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. You obviously have to change something, because it hasn't been good enough this season. My worry with that is I wouldn't want to rock the boat too much.
Yeah, I don't want to rock it too much either.
Or even set these guys up for a situation where you're putting too much pressure on them, so they don't get too tight. Because I think that everybody knows now on that team, after the last couple of weeks against Kentucky and Mississippi State, and even what happened against Vanderbilt, like, maybe we aren't who we thought we were. It may be, not so much Vanderbilt, because they really dominated that game. They just kind of slipped up at the end. But particularly against Kentucky and Mississippi State, that's why I say, like, that's a wake-up call for them. So I don't think that they're, based on what we've seen this season, they're going to walk into this Georgia game, given the stakes, given the environment, given the team that they're playing, with the same mentality that they walked into Florida, Kentucky, and Mississippi State. I almost feel like it would be closer to Ohio State.
Yeah.
Where they know what they're about to face, because this is a really damn good football team. So maybe that helps kind of jar them back into the sense of reality of, we know we're not supposed to come out and whip this team. Everything has to be perfect. Our talent is equal to their talent, if not less. So I think that kind of plays a role into it. But, I mean, Sark has been really good on the road throughout his career at Texas.
Yes, I agree.
So
this year notwithstanding.
this year notwithstanding, but, like, I think at a certain point he's adjusted.
Yeah,
in the past to make things easier. I think that he's capable of adjusting again and making the micro adjustments that he needs to make going into this game that are going to get his team prepared and ready to play. I just think it's a hard thing to do. Like, if you get to a point where you're at, how much can you really tell your team about the stakes, and how much, and change things up to where they aren't prepared? Because, I mean, what bigger stage is there in college football than Texas going to play Georgia at Sanford Stadium in prime time with your season on the line?
Oh, I agree. I think my main point about this is you nailed it at the beginning. The Ohio State game. We know what we have to do. And then they didn't do it. Now I get they're a better team than they were at that point, and they've learned a lot more. I think there's two levels with most young people, but especially young people and this football team we've seen. The line between knowing and knowing are two different things. They can know it all day long. Well, I got to be perfect, and then walk out there, line up on the line, and then not run a clean route because this route doesn't matter. I'm option 3, so this route doesn't matter. Or miss a block because they weren't watching the play right. So they didn't focus from the time the snap happened. The snap happened, they're kind of watching something else, and then they go and try and lock in. And that Georgia defender, who Vanderbilt was not as fast, Georgia defender's past him now. And they're sticking an arm out and getting a hold or something like that. I think that moment of understanding what you're walking into, of I know I have to be perfect, and not understanding that this other team is also trying to be perfect. That you cannot just impose your will that you maybe could do at a lot of other levels, that maybe now it's a lot harder to impose that will, that you go, oh no, I have to go above and beyond. I have to win these battles, these one-on-one battles and these matchups. I have to win them more than I lose them. And I'm going to lose them plenty in this game because they're also really, really good players. I think that's kind of the difference. Now you hope that Ohio State, that Oklahoma, that, Vanderbilt to a point, that maybe even Florida to a point, you learned a little bit more about playing in those little matchups and going, okay, when we saw Dallas Moore come down the sideline and just beat us as a true freshman wide receiver, we all kind of got embarrassed. And now we understand we can't take anything lightly, even if we think we're a better player. We can't let Branch just run, go get 250 yards in the air on us. Because we're not respecting what he does. I think those are the big issues that I'm worried about with them on the road, being able to recover from those losses, being able to, get beat in a matchup, and the offensive line getting beat by a really good Kirby Smart scheme, and then having to go backwards and, in the next play, crowds in your ear now, and you're in your own head, and having to go back to that and go, no, but I can go win the next battle. That, to me, that setting of what you have to be in this game, that's what I'm worried about on the road with them. But at the end of the day, you can worry all day long. It doesn't really matter because I will not be out there. So I think that there's something of trying to shove that into their brains more and more of, guys, I get you have to be perfect. Also know you're not going to be perfect. And know that when you mess up, you need to come back and be perfect after that again. Because the more you let this kill you, it's going to kill you on the road. And it's happened too many times. We run the ball for 5 yards, for 5 yards, for 5 yards, for 2 yards, for -3 yards, for -7 yards, for -9. And you're like, what happened? Why are we going backwards at a certain point? Oh, well, the crowd got loud when they stopped them for 2 yards. And then they got really loud when they stopped them for no gain. They got really, really loud. And so we just thought we couldn't run the ball anymore. Like, that's not how this works. So you have to figure that out. We got him waiting in the green room. Why don't we bring him in? Harrison Reno from UGA Sports joining the show to give us a little bit more thoughts and knowledge about this Georgia team before a huge matchup on Saturday evening. Harrison, appreciate you joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys. Patrick, nice to meet you. Matt, nice to see you again.
Yeah, nice for you to join us, Harrison. One of the times that you were actually out, Patrick, on a little, I think you were going to a concert or something.
Yeah, maybe.
Harrison filled in for you. We went a full 2 hours on the show, so this is not his first time on Open Gym. Welcome back.
Okay, there you go. Open Gym veteran in the building. Coming back for another road game for Harrison. Appreciate it. We were just talking about Texas playing on the road, Harrison. But as we start to get into it about this Georgia team, what's the feeling about this Georgia team right now in Athens, around the building, that maybe early in the season it felt like there was a little bit more worry than after just putting a whooping on Mississippi State when everybody thought it was an upset special? It feels maybe a little bit more like this Georgia team's got a different level of confidence.
Yeah, I think it's cautious confidence, especially in the fan base right now, because the theme of the season, it's similar to Texas. There's been a lot of one-score games, and I see it on the dog vent every week. It's like, man, I can't keep watching this team play like this. week after week after week, it's, go down, get a deficit, have to climb your way out. But right now, it seems like there's a little bit of cautious confidence in terms of like, hey, maybe this is the start of that November scaling for this team, the type of scaling that they've seen in the past, where it's like, hey, you don't have to play your best football in August, September, but you start to play it in November and December and January. I think this group hasn't ever lacked confidence. They've had a ton of it. Which is, you see it late in games. I can't explain it. It's like a flip of a switch, and all of a sudden they're better on both sides of the ball. But Saturday was the first time that I've seen them all season go out there and really dominate a team. I won't say from the opening drive, because they got like a hot knife through butter on the opening drive from Mississippi State. But from that point on, it was the different football team. Offensively, they executed, they really moved people. And then defensively, they found some ways to really generate pressure, something that they haven't done at all this season consistently.
Well, speaking of that pressure, obviously the Texas offensive line it's been really bad. We'll
inconsistent,
put it
Matt. Inconsistent.
That's a better way to put it, Patrick. I like that. And it has a lot of people, flashing back to 2024 when Georgia came to Austin and absolutely abused Quinn Ewers. And I think there was like 7 sacks for Georgia in that game. And then going into the SEC championship, like Texas played better in that football game, but they still were giving up a lot of pressures and sacks. And I think it was like 15 tackles for loss or something like that for Georgia. Crazy, crazy numbers there. So a lot of people are afraid, like, Georgia just has Sark's number. Kirby has Sark's number. What is it that's different about this Georgia team than last year? And maybe something that the Texas fans can look at and be like, well, that's not exactly the same battle that we fought last year. Maybe we have an advantage here, or vice versa.
I will say, and maybe Texas fans will balk at this, Georgia's much better against the run this year on defense. Like, this is a more traditional Kirby Smart run defense. They do a great job of building that wall and not really letting you give up any explosives. I don't think they've given up a run of over 30, 40 yards this season. They've really got back to their roots on both sides of the ball, which is stopping the run and running the football. They're really good at it. Like, if you tell them that their opponent's going to run it on first and second down, Georgia feels great about it. Where they've struggled is you've seen teams start to attack them on first and second down, be really aggressive and throw the ball. Alabama very, very quickly realized, hey, we're not going to run it early in these guys and find early down success, but we could find early down success throwing the ball on them. And that's why you saw Ty Simpson go in there into Sanford Stadium and have quite the day. That's the thing for them. Georgia's pass rush, I don't know if they have a one-on-one, like consistent one-on-one winner. Haven't really seen it. It's been their inside linebacker room has been their best pass rusher so far this year, which is CJ Allen, Raylan Wilson, Chris Cole kind of plays a hybrid role. But that's the main difference is Georgia's really good at stopping the run so far. I believe they're near the top of the SEC in terms of doing it, in terms of rushing yards per game. But the trademark of Kirby Smart defense has always been, hey, we're going to stop the run first. And when we get you into third and long, we're going to unleash and let our guys get after the passer and be successful on those downs. Georgia has not been successful on third down at all this year. And it's a direct result. They just don't have the guys off the edge that they used to, which is why you see when you go watch them play Mississippi State, they're having to send their linebackers multiple times to get after the quarterback. And I think that's where this matchup for Texas fans comes down to is Georgia's going to have to figure out something in terms of balancing, hey, we want to get after Arch and send those pressures. But at the same time, if we don't keep someone home, he will make us pay.
Yeah, that's kind of where we're going, Harrison, is this Georgia team in historically for Texas' sake feels like, okay, Arch better watch out because Georgia's going to be living in his backfield the entire game. This doesn't really feel like that. It feels much more of a team of Arch is going to have to go win the game by himself because they can't run the football. And he may have a little bit more time, but he's going to have to make some really good throws. But Georgia's going to be able to get to him. Do you think there's a chance, though, knowing that Texas offensive line has been weak and Kirby can dial up what he wants to dial up in there, that we could see a few more blitz packages, a few more exotic looks, a few more things that maybe they haven't shown, knowing that this isn't a really strong Texas running team. So they maybe can, steal a little bit from the run game to attack the passing game a little bit more in the rush, just to set the tone, especially in the first half, because if you were able to slow them down in the first half, it's going to be much harder for them to come back in the second, Or do they just sit back and say, if Arch can beat us, Arch can beat us, but we don't think he can?
I think that's really where the chess match comes in. I feel like Glenn Schumann last year did a really good job, Georgia's defensive coordinator, dialing up different looks, like showing several different looks, having the double mug that really gave Texas trouble last year. I'm sure you're going to see that early. You're going to see the bear fronts, the 5-down linemen. You're going to see that early. I think in games this year defensively, Georgia's been, I want to like, sometimes it feels like they're conservative out of the gate. They kind of go into bend, don't break mode and kind of just feel you out. And then as the game goes on, they make their adjustments and they get a little bit more aggressive. I do think at some point in the game, they will have to get aggressive because we've seen them play offensive lines that are supposedly, not great units like Auburn, for instance. I don't think Georgia had a sack versus Auburn in that game. And now Arch is a much better quarterback than Jackson Arnold and probably a very comparable athlete between the two. But Georgia really wasn't able to get home at all or show much of anything in that first half versus Auburn. But as kind of that game went on, you saw Auburn just unable to progress the ball downfield because Arnold was missing throws. So I think you do see maybe a little bit more exotic pressures maybe later in this game as things get tighter and closer to that final whistle. But early on, I very much do think you're going to see a lot of the same things they showed last year on tape and adjust. Because Kirby said it on Saturday after the game. He's basically conceding that first drive. He's going to give up the first drive and then make adjustments from there, it's interesting. I haven't heard him say that since I believe it was 2023, where they went down and gave up touchdowns the first drive of each game.
Well, that's an interesting strategy for sure, especially when you've got a quarterback on the other side like Arch Manning who can, at least over the last couple of weeks, has proved that he could do it consistently and that he can really attack, for a good period of time and win a football game like he did against Vanderbilt. I mean, that was a masterclass by Arch in that game. But what I'm really interested in is the Texas defense versus the Georgia offense more than anything else, because I don't really know what to make of this Georgia offense. It's really good. Like, there's a lot of talent. The receivers catch balls this year, which is a major upgrade. They have two really good tight ends.
Drops. It's nice not hearing drops being the first word coming out of people's mouths when talking about the Georgia offense. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, no, but like they have really good receiver room. They have really good tight ends. Gunnar Stockton's legs are a huge factor. But they, like, outside of the Mississippi State game, I feel like they haven't really been scoring a ton of points. Like, it was 24-20 against Florida. It was a close one with Alabama. Like, a lot of their games have been one-score games, and it feels like they've done just enough to get over the finish line offensively. Have they played a defense like Texas so far this year that has the elite capabilities that Texas does? And how do you think that offense really matches up with this Texas defense? Because I think that's where the game's really going to be won and lost.
I think the closest thing to what Georgia's played in terms of defenses so far, and it is Auburn, probably just because Auburn has those twitchy edge rushers and was able to create pressure. And DJ Durkin had a great game plan in terms of keeping kind of Georgia everything underneath and making them grind it out. But there's still levels to this. And both of y'all know Auburn's probably in the second tier of SC defenses, and Texas is in that top tier. That's probably the closest thing. And Auburn gave them trouble early in that football game, and then Georgia kind of did enough to win. And that was, ironically, probably one of Gunner's most average games of the season so far. Same thing with Florida. Although Florida had, like 17 people out on the injury list, including two of their best defensive linemen. Those guys give them trouble, especially in the run game early. And then Georgia kind of came back and found some ways to win. But I do think it's fair. I don't know if they've been lighting up the scoreboard, but the thing about this offense that has been interesting to watch is that they're really efficient. Gunner's only turned the ball over, I think, twice this year. And one of them was off Noah Thomas's hands into the hands of a Florida safety. And early in the season, he was very risk-averse, didn't really test his eyes, didn't test himself, and really didn't put the ball at risk at all. But since I want to say in Kentucky game 4, where he threw his first pick, we've started to see him get more aggressive and started to see him trust his guys. And the offense has kind of blossomed into something over the last few weeks where it feels like Georgia fans could really have confidence in this unit. And it's weird as a Georgia person, like someone covering Georgia, that offense is one of the first things people talk about because the defense hasn't been up to that standard. But this offense hasn't really shown until this past week the ability to be consistently explosive, but they've been methodical. They've dealt body blows, and they really want to grind you out and control the ball. And they've done that really well at times this year. And then other times, there does come the run, pass, punt. But it has been much, much less this year compared to last year.
Yeah, speaking of the offense, Gunnar Stockton, by the way, speaking to Harrison Reno, UGAsports.com, follow him at Harrison Reno. But speaking of the offense, Gunnar Stockton has been, like many first-year starting quarterbacks. We dealt with it a lot at Texas with Arch Manning, that it looks like he has definitely started to improve more and more as the season goes on. What's the vibe about Gunnar Stockton right now in Athens? And is the belief that he is really turning into one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC from maybe at the beginning of the season, beliefs being, oh, he'll be kind of a stopgap guy and could be a good player, but he won't be elite, to what's the ceiling looking like for a Gunnar Stockton right now?
I do think it's not a stretch to say he's playing some of the best ball at the quarterback position in the SEC right now. Obviously, Ty Simpson's up there. Arch Manning's turning into a guy that people have gone from making constant memes about to he's playing really good football. But I do think Gunnar is playing at a high level, and I think there is confidence. And that's been the one thing since even Carson went down in the SEC championship is these guys have never lacked belief in him. And it almost resembled the way they talked about him publicly, his teammates and Kirby Smart, resembled what the early Stetson Bennett days were in 2021, where a team captain like Nolan Smith went into the podium and was banging on the podium like, hey, 13's my guy. You kind of see it a little bit here with Gunnar. Like Oscar Delp said this week, there's no other guy they'd rather have leading them, and you feel that. I think there's a lot more confidence now. I was kind of skeptical after the first few games. It seemed like he wasn't going to take risks, wasn't going to fully trust his eyes and make the throws that Georgia needed him to make. But we've seen that kind of reverse down the stretch here lately. I think there's a lot of confidence in him. And I think the flip of the switch, for the most part, the thing that made me kind of like, ooh, like this guy could play at a really high level for him was the Ole Miss game. I don't know how publicized it was. Gunnar didn't practice that much that week after the game at Auburn. I think he missed Monday and Tuesday practices because of some of the hits he had taken. And then he went out there versus Ole Miss and helped lead an offense. I think went 7 straight scoring drives in that game and helped him win a shootout and made some big throws in that game.
I'm glad he brought the Ole Miss game up.
Sorry, Matt.
Number one, that was a very painful moment for me. Number two, it was the first time all season, and I think really the only time this season, that somebody has been able to score again and again and again against Georgia. Ole Miss scored on its first 5 drives or 6 drives or something like that. And I think it was the first 5 drives. And they looked like they were going to be unstoppable the whole day. What is it that they did in that game that you think Texas has a chance of replicating at some extent that could give them even a semblance of that success and be consistent offensively and sustain drives?
I would say the quick passing game. Like Ole Miss found ways to get the ball out quick, but not really in the screen game. Georgia's always really been good, even this year, at stopping the horizontal screen game. Like they go down and rally and tackle, and that was, I think, something that I was curious about last year in this matchup was how does Georgia stop the misdirection, some of the window dressing screen game, Steve Sarkisian, and you saw those guys rally and tackle the football. And last year going into that game, Georgia hadn't really tackled well. Like that was one of the worst tackling teams of the Kirby Smart era, and they've been much better, much closer to the standard in that department. But I think where you get this Georgia team off balance is in that quick passes game. When you start threatening them with slants, quick stuff where you don't allow them to, get after it after the quarterback, but you get it out quick and take advantage of some of the coverages, some of the coverage responsibilities they have. Georgia's playing, from deep to in terms of, hey, they don't want to give up explosives, but they will give up those quick 5-8 yard hitters and let you kind of, bend but don't break has been kind of the mantra for Georgia on defense at times this year. And Ole Miss, wasn't breaking at all. They were just going down the field and finding success. I think that's where, in terms of the quick game, we've seen it with Texas over the last few weeks. that's where they can give them trouble, is if they can put together those sustainable drives and not turn the ball over. Then you could see something where Texas is, 5 straight scoring drives. And I mean, hey, at that point, you're thinking, all right, this is going to be a shootout, which I don't know. Either of y'all would have, a few weeks ago would have thought, hey, they'd find themselves in a shootout in Sanford.
No, definitely not. I think you would have that shootout. But if it does not, it becomes a bit more of a slog, and you get to see the running backs for Georgia, and they start to get going. What is it for Texas that what is it that teams have been able to do to slow down Georgia's rushing attack a little bit more to allow Texas to get to one of their specialties, that edge room, and trying to make Gunnar Stockton uncomfortable? You can't get there if you can't slow down Bowens and you can't slow down Frazier. Has there really been scenarios this season where you've seen that Georgia run game get slowed down to the point where it does become a Gunnar Stockton game, or has that run game just been consistent enough to get the job done?
I think they've done a good job of churning stuff out, even if it's minimal. They haven't really been explosive in the run game consistently, but they've gotten those body blows in terms of picking up 4 or 5 yards. You saw them kind of early in the year. Alabama was loading some boxes early in that football game and was forcing Gunnar to be the guy to beat them. And until Georgia kind of proved that they could, then you saw them kind of unload those boxes and really respect the Georgia passing game. I'm not quite sure what the matchup will be in terms of whether Texas loads the box here, whether you want to do that with a Zachariah Branch and some of the weapons Georgia has out wide. And I think Gunnar's proven himself capable as a passer now, where maybe there's a healthy amount of respect in terms of not giving him as many opportunities in one-on-one coverage downfield. I think, honestly, in terms of the Georgia run game, it really simply, and I know this is cliche and I'm sorry, but it simply does come down to winning those one-on-ones. It seemed like last year all the time, Georgia would have 4 offensive linemen win their matchups, and then the one guy whiffs, and it's the difference between a 3-yard gain and an 8-yard gain. This year, you've seen a lot more. Georgia's winning their one-on-ones. They're moving people up front, and Georgia's backs have been really good in terms of hitting their holes. Like Chauncey Bowens was a revelation for him in the Alabama game, and now Nate Frazier, who fumbled in the Alabama game, had one of the best games of his career and really showed the patience as a runner that he hadn't quite shown. I think in terms of the balance here, I think Texas is going to have to find that balance in terms of you're probably going to have to stick to the ways that you've done it in terms of, hey, if you're having to overcommit in the box, then you open yourselves up to be hit downfield. So I think it's a mix, Patrick. It's hard because I haven't really seen you see teams grind Georgia out and get them into 3rd and longs. And that's kind of where you want them, because then you're asking Gunnar in that passing game to make those big plays. But I haven't really seen a consistent answer yet in terms of how do you take away that Georgia run game.
I love that you brought up one-on-one matchups, because I think that this Texas defense specifically has a lot of guys, specifically in the pass rush, that they can throw at you that Georgia probably hasn't seen this year. I mean, I know you talked about Auburn with Keldrick Falk and some of those guys they have up front, but Colin Simmons, Trey Moore, Ethan Burke, Anthony Hill, Brad Spence, all these guys can get after you. What are the one-on-one matchups you think that are going to play a critical role in Texas having a chance to win this football game up front? And do you think that they're capable of slowing down this Georgia offense enough to give Arch Manning a chance to win this game for them?
Ironically, I believe where Texas wins this matchup is going to be off the edges. I think on the interior of Georgia's offensive line has been its strongest, in my opinion, which is crazy because Georgia has 2 true freshmen starting on the interior in Juan Gaston and Dontel Glover. But you've seen, and I think a lot of it's been they've had a lot of injuries at right tackle. Ernest Green had missed some time with a back injury, and they kind of swapped some guys in and out. Juan Gaston, who started at guard, had to move the tackle, played really well, and then Ernest comes back. He moves back into guard, and Dontel Glover moves over to the next spot. But Monroe Freeling, even Xavier Truss last year, Georgia's tackles really got whooped by some speed rushers. And once teams started to create some hesitancy, Ole Miss did a good job in terms of slanting and stunting and really gave Georgia problems where they started to hesitate. And you just saw Princely Umaliellen just running past Georgia's offensive line, something you haven't really seen. I think in terms of this matchup, obviously when it comes to the run game, you're going to have to stop Georgia's inside zone, counter run, like you would expect with any physical football team. But off the edges in this game, I look at Colin Simmons, I look at Trey Moore, I look at even Anthony Hill coming off from the second level. I think that's where Georgia may be most susceptible. And that's not to say Monroe Freeling's not playing good ball or Ernest Green's not playing good ball, but just in the past when they've struggled, it's been against some of those speedy, twitchier guys.
Speaking with Harrison Reno of UGAsports.com, follow him at Harrison Reno. We'll let you get on with your day here, but we got to know, what do you think is going to happen in this game? Do you have a final prediction on a Tuesday, or do you just have some thoughts about what you think will happen for this game?
I've been going back and forth. We do our game predictions on Thursday night, turn it in to be published Friday morning. I think this is a one-score game either way. I think to be honest, I could see this being in the 20s, kind of like the SEC Championship. I don't know if it's 16-16 or 9, whatever it was going into overtime of that game, but I do think maybe you see a slower start as both sides kind of feel their way into this. But in the end, I do think it's a one-score game. Right now, with it being at home, I lean Georgia pulling this one out. But in terms of biggest issues for Georgia in the past has been a running quarterback. And where the X factor lies for me is Steve Sarkisian and Arch Manning in that offense ready to, I think Arch is going to have to run it 8 to 10 times. And if he does that, you give Georgia extreme problems on defense, because that's an extra hat in the box that they unaccount for. And that's the X factor in this game for me. It's obviously Texas run game. I assume Georgia will be able to find success in terms of slowing it down. But if Arch Manning gets involved, that's where this game kind of flips on its head for me. Right now, I think Georgia pulls this one out 28-24. But I will say, come Friday, that could very well change. I think I flipped at the last minute on the Alabama-Georgia game earlier this year.
We appreciate you, Harrison, coming on. I like it. I like the Tuesday prediction. I get it. I have not made a prediction yet either. It's a little early. We haven't even got the injury reports yet, so we will have to see how all that comes out. But we really appreciate your time. Follow Harrison Reno at Harrison Reno. Check him out, UGAsports.com. Get all your information this week and then in the future, because, hell, there could be another Texas-Georgia matchup. It has definitely been a favorite of, I know, most Texas fans here, enjoying that budding rivalry of two really good teams, and Smart versus Sark has been a fun thing to watch. So we appreciate your time, Harrison.
Thanks for having me, guys. This has been fun. Hope to see y'all down the road. Obviously, hopefully this isn't the last matchup that these two teams have this year, because it's always made for a good game these last few times these matched up.
I agree.
Yeah, and hopefully Harrison, if Patrick ever decides to take a vacation again, Harrison will fill in quite nicely. And I'll see you in Athens on Saturday, Harrison.
Looking forward to it.
We appreciate you. Like you there for Harrison Reno joining the show here. Some good stuff there, getting you ready for Texas and Georgia on Saturday. Eddie, I like that. First play of the game should be a Texas fake horizontal wide receiver pass, a little screen, and then do a pump fake and send one to the blocking wide receivers downfield, trying to get you, trying to catch them off guard. This is one of those things where it's like, that Kirby's already thought of that, and then Kirby's going to play, and there's just going to be so many. If I had to guess, it's a different setup for a screen pass. That would be my actual. I don't think they're going to do the pump fake. I think they'll just try and the same way they ran a screen, and then the next time they sent, they sent Wingo in motion a little bit quicker. They'll send a different motion, and maybe it's a screen to a different player or something like that. I could see that happening, but I like it. I do like that. The forward thinking, Eddie, do like that.
There's this clip from Ted Lasso where they're like, they expect us to play a 4-4-2. So what we're going to do is we're going to come out and play a 3-3-5, but they're going to think of that. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to play a 1-5-5, but they're going to think we're going to do that too. So now we're going to play a 4-4-2. It's like, it all just ends up coming back to the same thing because everybody's out thinking each other. So that would be fun.
I think that does happen. I know Sark does it to an extent in these matchups where he's like, well, no, Kirby will figure that one out. So, all right, we got to do this. But we just saw it with Harrison. He was bringing up the point. It's like Kirby is trusting his coaching and his play calling and his game plan that we're going to see what they throw at us, and we won't over prepare for one eventuality or the other. But as soon as something happens, we got 14 different choose your own adventure books to go in, our next set of plays and what we want to do. So we will see what happens with all of that. We come back, we'll hit our overreactions Tuesday, get into a little NFL talk as well. Packers couldn't get it done last night for us. Come on, man. We're just trying to win some picks here. Just trying to win some picks. We'll get into all of that and more here. And whatever you guys want to talk about, you are the third member of Open Gym. We come back here on about 2.5 minutes here on Open Gym on Texas Sports Unfiltered.
Now, stepping up to the plate is a household name, weighing in at roughly 115 pounds with a wingspan of 98 inches. It's Samsung.
Kid, I know it's baseball season, but this isn't what I meant when I said to incorporate sports into the company commercial.
Sorry, old man. I just want everyone to know that audiovisual consultations can make your home feel like a stadium.
That's true. Audiovisual provides stadium surround sound, huge screen video, controlled lighting, and even temperature control. On our roster, every customer is an MVP.
Sounds like audiovisual knows how to score a home run with our customers.
All right, kid, that's enough with the baseball puns.
But I'm trying to tell everyone that audiovisual is a real catch. You'll glove our services.
Kid?
There's nothing coming out of left field when you give us a call. We won't break your balls.
Kid, we only have a minute.
Pitch, please. I don't need your attitude right now.
Rest assured, listeners, audiovisual is much better at installing and designing custom home theaters than we are at making jokes.
Just check our stats. Give us a call at 512-255-8678 or visit us online at avconsultations.com.
You see covert everywhere. That personal level of just feeling like it's a personal family interaction.
The customer service, it's impeccable. It's unlike anything I've ever experienced buying a car.
Over the 30 years that I've been buying cars from them, I feel like I know them and they know me.
Covert's done an amazing job of making me feel valued. If you purchase a vehicle and you want to feel like you're part of a family, join the Covert family.
Come and experience it for yourself.
Covert, born and raised in Austin.
BK here for OLIPOP. Man, this stuff is the game changer of all game changers. Their slogan is a new kind of soda, and that's exactly what it is. You get that same great soda taste, but OLIPOP is actually good for you. Inside of every can, a blend of 7 unique botanicals, plant fibers, and prebiotics. You're getting 9 grams of fiber in every can, only 2 to 5 grams of sugar, and man, the flavor is absolutely there. Classic soda flavors like cola, root beer, lemon lime, and Dr. Goodwin. That's their version of a Dr. Pepper, and some other great flavors as well. The grape, the cream soda, the cherry cola. It's all fantastic. I'm telling y'all, OLIPOP tastes just like the soda you grew up sipping, but with the added benefits of microbiome and digestive health support as well. Pick up OLIPOP at H-E-B, Target, Walmart, Whole Foods, and Costco all throughout the Austin area and the state of Texas. And head over to drinkolipop.com. Use the promo code TEXAS20 for a discount on your first purchase. It's OLIPOP, a new kind of soda.
Back here on Open Gym on Texas Sports Unfiltered, Hour 2. Myself, Patrick Davis, alongside Matt Galatzan of Texas Longhorns on SI. And, of course, you, the third member of Open Gym. Texas line is open, 512-222-9328. And over there in the chat, Facebook, Twitch, X, and on YouTube. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us on a Veterans Day. If you have the day off work, we appreciate it. And thank you again. Thank you again to all of the veterans who have served this country and given us the freedom to sit here and BS about sports every day. We do appreciate it. So we'll get into Hour 2 overreactions coming up here in just a minute. Thanks again to Harrison Reno for coming on today. At Harrison Reno, where you want to go, check him out. Keep up with what the Bulldogs are doing this week. If you want the intel, you check him out. Brooks Austin on tomorrow. Give you more preview, keeping it going all week long about this. I do like Eddie has already gone down the rabbit hole. He has changed his play call 6 times already just here to get it to play it safe. Yes, wide receiver screen draw to Weisner. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Don't outthink yourselves here, Texas. Just go play football. I do appreciate Harrison coming on quite a bit. I podcast with him a couple times a week, and it's always fun to get his perspective. Couple of really, really, really big football brains coming on Open Gym this week. So You guys are going to be you guys are going to know everything about football by the time you stop listening to this show on Wednesday. So congratulations.
Friday. Give us Friday. We gotta give us some credit. Jeez. I'm gonna try and
well,
get it.
I'm just you're gonna know everything you need to know about how Georgia football is played. I'll put it that way.
I gotcha. Hair the dog is his first overreaction for you. That Jerry Jones is gonna hire Nico Harrison as the first general manager.
Oh God, I would literally die.
Don't worry, Nico Harrison's gonna, parachute into another high-paying job that he's underqualified for, and shouldn't.
You know what
be
he's
doing.
going to do? Actually, is
Go to
he's going to
Lakers?
go to one of these. He's going to go to one of these new expansion teams as their new GM, and he's going to trade for Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving, and like all of his other dudes that he loves. And that team.
No, I have a feeling. No, he's going to go tomorrow. He's going to be hired by the Lakers, and they're like, "Hey, he worked for us the whole time. Like, how did you not know that he was working for us? Clearly, he gave us Luka Doncic. How dumb is this?"
And then it is guaranteed that Luka doesn't stick around because he didn't want to be in the same building as that guy.
All right. Let's get into some overreactions, Matt. Every Tuesday, I put together some overreactions I have heard, thought of, seen, talked to somebody about, and then, or if you want to throw any in the chat or the text line, you can do that as well. And then we will get to, and we'll see if Matt or I believe these are real overreactions or if they're viable and make sense. We'll start off with a little college football playoff talk. The polls come back out again tonight. We'll see if they've responded to anything. If Texas, if A&M's still at 3, and look, I think Texas should be again above Notre Dame. It's still, to me, if they look at that Indiana game and they don't just go, well, yeah, A&M's clearly better than Indiana, like clearly. If we put them together and played 90 and we played 100 times, A&M's winning 95 of those times. They're just a better team.
Honestly, I think you're wrong.
Yeah?
I think A&M wins 99 of those times.
Look, I'll say 5 times the refs are bad, but well, so we will say, but this is not the problem with the college football playoff here. This is a different problem that the ACC is bringing into this with their nonsense, and that the college football playoff should not take any teams ranked below 25. This is kind of the thought, and the original overreaction is the college football playoff should completely do away with automatic bids, should completely do away with anything. I've lowered that down because they shouldn't go away with they shouldn't do away with them because then it is a little bit different. If you are having to go past number 25 to find a team to put in the playoff, they don't need to be in the playoff. So don't change the rule to no automatic bids, but no teams under 20. So we just lose that. If there's not 5 conference champions who are ranked above 25. So if the ACC just completely kills himself and knocks him out itself completely out of contention, we don't have to have we give that to a real team. Is that an overreaction or is that a viable, genuine thing to do to take this and say, this is silly to put in such a bad team that is going to be a game that no one really wants to watch and they have zero chance of winning?
I mean, yeah, if you can't find a team that's in the top 25, what are we doing? More often than not, a group of 5 team will be ranked in the top 25 somewhere. But if that's not the case this year, then I don't think any of them should be able to make it. And it's hard to believe that would happen with the ACC, but I mean, you never know what's going to happen over the next couple of weeks. I agree with you. I don't think that's an overreaction. I think that should be a certainty. Like, yeah, you have an automatic bid if you're the best conference champion, whatever. But outside of that, you don't deserve to get in. Like, we're going to have a cutoff line of teams that we allow into this thing that can compete for a national championship. Because right now, there's, I think, 3 teams, maybe 4 teams that are in contention for the group of 5 spot. And it's USF, Tulane, James Madison, and North Texas. Like, if none of those teams are in the CFP top 25 rankings, they shouldn't be allowed in.
And I'm not even saying, I didn't, it's not, look, I think the overreaction is like top 15. I'm saying 25. So what we've agreed on in football for many years is a reasonable amount of teams to rank before we start to get to just kind of dribbling off into we have no idea who's better than anybody. And that's why it's all right, 25. Cut that off. Cut it off. It's no good. We don't need anybody else out there. Like, and I get the emphasis of, well, we don't just want to have all Big Ten and SEC teams. Well, then don't be awful. Like, that's all we're saying. Don't be awful. It like a one-loss power group of 5 team could still be top 25. They win all their other games. They look good. They'll get in the top 25. They'll be in.
Yeah.
You play one conference. You play a one-loss team that lost to a Power 4 school. No one's gonna get mad at you. You come in. You go. You scheduled a good game. You lost it, but you are competitive in it. You'll still get in. I just think like how much more fun would it be than to have an ACC team have Vanderbilt? And like Vanderbilt's not great, but they're better than anybody in the ACC right now. So Oklahoma, but I'm like, that's how I was going even further. I'm like, look, Vanderbilt at least you'd be like, okay, well, we get Poppy and we kind of get the small. I think there's other teams that can fit into it that would be more fun. But yeah, Oklahoma, Texas, right now we're on the outside looking in, and you would go, well, yeah, clearly those teams will be better in the playoffs than a Pitt team who came out and their coach said, I don't care about beating Notre Dame. That's I don't want them in there anymore.
I think that there should be no automatic bids at all. Top 12 teams. That's it. Doesn't matter the conference affiliation.
I understand the reason why they don't want to do that. I do understand the reasoning is that you're basically saying, well, there's already bias towards those bigger conferences. So the bigger conferences are always just going to dominate it. And none of us are ever having even a remote chance. And there's something fun about anyone could be a national champion at the beginning of the season. It's kind of silly because they're never a group of 5 team. Now, look, I'm waiting for the day when a group of 5 team wins a playoff game. I think we should give it 5 years. And if a group of 5 team doesn't win a game in 5 years, then we can be like, all right, let's talk about leaving it. But I'll give it 5 years. I'll give it time because if they can prove us wrong, then okay, you guys won a big game. But if they don't win a game in 5 years, we have to reconsider and go, guys, you got to be like undefeated to get in. You have to win a Power 4 team. You have to win something to make us believe you deserve to be there. All right, our next overreaction, Matt. Saw this one a ton this week. Fernando Mendoza won the Heisman with 1 pass.
No. That's ridiculous. He did not play well in that game, like play Heisman level in that game. He had one drive at the end of the game.
You heard this as well as I did, right? This is not me making up one. This is what I've heard.
It all started with Gus Johnson and his app. I love Gus Johnson. I think he's great.
Yeah.
I used to hate him, but he's really grown on me, and I think he's one of the better announcers that we have today. But that was an absolutely ridiculous statement, and that was an absolutely ridiculous reaction to what happened. Like, Indiana beat an unranked team on the road, a bad team on the road, and they played like shit the entire game until the final drive. Like, if I'm in the booth making that call and I'm Gus Johnson, I'm like, and Indiana somehow finds a way and they move on. That's it. And it certainly wasn't enough. Like, he was 19 of 30 for 218 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. That's not a Heisman performance.
No.
You know what a Heisman performance is? Vince Young against USC, or Vince Young really any game that he played in 2005. You know, like,
no, I'm with you. We heard this a lot. I think that, like, you just look at the games that are happening this week, and Alabama, Oklahoma. Ty Simpson has a good game. Ty Simpson just won the Heisman. You know what I mean? I think that you can't say that in a game with 3 weeks left in the season, because there's still going to be those moments in some of these matchups where you're going to see somebody else have one of those moments and then go, well, the from Mendoza thing 3 weeks ago, his game. Now we're looking at the stat line because we're not real, that's 3 weeks ago. I do not think he won himself the Heisman. I had to put that one in because I heard it a ton this week. That was well, guys, it's a foregone conclusion now.
Here are Fernando Mendoza's numbers since the Illinois game, the 4th game of the season. The first 4 games of the season, he threw 14 touchdown passes, no picks. Since then, against Iowa, he had 2 touchdowns and a pick, completed 56% of his passes. Against Oregon, 215 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Beat the crap out of Michigan State. Big whoop. They're awful. UCLA, 3 touchdowns and a pick, 168 yards. Cool. Maryland, touchdown and a pick. Penn State, touchdown and a pick. He's thrown 5 interceptions in the last 6 games. It's not Heisman.
No, I'm with you. All right. How about this one? A 3-loss SEC team will not make the playoffs due to a clear Big Ten Notre Dame bias.
I don't think it's an overreaction. I think that that's certainly possible. We could figure out a scenario in which a 9-3 Texas team gets in.
Well, the thought is USC will get in ahead of those, and the Big Ten will just kind of at the end of the day, the Big Ten will get in more teams. This is due to someone I was talking to who, after the polls, realistically was like, dude, if they put Notre Dame in ahead of Texas and Oklahoma, and they put Indiana and Ohio State ahead of A&M, this committee clearly believes the Big Ten is a better conference of football. And they clearly believe that these other areas are better at football than the SEC, and the SEC is overrated. Even with the teams in there. That was their take, was that this team will value Big Ten wins well over valuing the toughness of an SEC schedule. That a 2-loss Big Ten team who didn't play anybody will get in over a 3-loss SEC team with a tough schedule.
I think you'll find out more about that this week.
We might tonight.
Yeah, tonight. What time is the selection show? Is it 6 or 7?
I think it's 6. I think it's at 6.
I tend to believe that Texas will be ahead of Notre Dame this week. I certainly think that Texas A&M should be ahead of Indiana this week. If neither of those things happen, then perhaps your friend might be onto something. But I find it really hard to believe that if USC beats, who do they have left on their schedule that's good?
They have one more big game, right? USC.
Was it Oregon? Do they play Oregon?
Oregon is the big game left.
If they beat Oregon, there's a chance. But then if they beat Oregon, I think Oregon's out.
But are they a 2-loss Oregon team too?
Yeah, but you haven't beaten.
I'm just saying. But I don't know. Do we know that, or do we think?
No, but the thing is, if it was Indiana that happened to, and they're ranked number 3, I think that's more a conversation. Oregon's number 9 right now, heading into this week. So they're a little bit lower on the totem pole. So I don't know. I also think that we're not going to have to worry about this because Pittsburgh's going to beat Notre Dame.
Yes. So they're 6 p.m. today. Yes.
Okay,
6 p.m. Is where we'll get that. But yeah, I'm with you. It's going to be an interesting one as we go. All right, next overreaction. This one is starting to get the rounds for a couple of different schools. I'm starting to hear this more and more. Dabo Swinney will coach in the SEC next season. Starting to hear that there's more and more rumors that some of these schools in the SEC, and they could be looking at Dabo Swinney. And I don't know if Florida's LSU. I don't think it's either of those teams. But there could be talk of, Clemson being like, dude, we're going the wrong direction. You need to walk away. And then maybe Auburn looking for a big name. Auburn calls him up. Maybe one of these schools that, didn't necessarily get it done. Or has their coach poached. Like if a Vanderbilt gets their coach poached, does Dabo Swinney get their exit kicked out one day and then come into a school that's already starting to build something? They think we can build this school up. We like your culture here. We also don't want to spend a ton of money. Is there a chance? So there's a couple schools that we've heard his name kind of tied around in the SEC at this point. Arkansas is another one that they think, well, maybe there's some money there. We can bring him in here. Somebody's looking for a name that isn't necessarily going to get the big name. Dabo Swinney could be a name, a national championship coach that Clemson could be maybe showing the door to a little bit more.
I don't think this is like impossible. I think you can take one of the names off the list, though. One of the teams off the list, though. I think Auburn's about to hire John Summerall.
Okay.
That just came out like a few minutes ago that like he's a serious contender for the job, which likely means that he's going to take the job. I think On3 reported that first.
Okay.
So I don't think he would go to. I don't think he's going to go to Auburn because I think they're hiring John Summerall. I don't think that Florida is really a fit for him. LSU would be interesting. That kind of does seem a little bit to me like a move that LSU would make. You know, they just did it with Brian Kelly, kind of.
Yeah.
Except Brian Kelly was winning at Notre Dame, and Dabo Swinney's been worse and worse and worse and worse. I think if that happens in the SEC, it'll be because someone else left for a better job, and they're so. Arkansas is certainly interesting to me as well, because if you can hire John Calipari away from Kentucky in a seemingly similar situation to what Dabo Swinney's in Clemson, maybe you do the same thing.
Yeah. You just heard his name thrown around there a few times. Think that one's interesting. I think there is some water to it that somebody could go make a run at Dabo Swinney this year, and everybody just goes, yeah, best case scenario, get him out of here. Like, we love him. We don't want to fire him. But he will never leave on his own. So somebody else has to come get him, or else we're kind of screwed because we're going to have to fire him next year if it can't get worse. But I mean, we saw it at Florida State. I mean, I guess it could get worse. They could win their first couple of games and get a ton of confidence and then completely shit the bed again. And everybody will be there. By the way, one of the worst bets you could have made preseason. It was at a certain point, it was not even a positive, like you were getting negative odds to take Clemson to win the ACC. It was so a foregone conclusion that you were betting like $100 to win 90 on a futures bet, which normally is a terrible, terrible bet to make. So everyone who made that one is just ripping their hair out. All right. Next overreaction. Another one for the college football playoff poll here. We will see several teams cancel non-conference games this offseason. They will cancel the better non-conference games this offseason after seeing Indiana do it in work, seeing some of these teams that did not play anybody tough, and the committee completely lied about meaning more. That they're going to be like, no, the committee doesn't care. We don't want to play these games. We would much rather win than play a hard team. So everyone's going to start canceling them.
I think that's a bit of an overreaction because I think we still have to see what plays out for the rest of the playoff polls. Like, for example, if we come back tonight and we see Texas A&M go to number 2 or number 1, and we see who did Texas Tech play in their non-con? Do we remember?
They played somebody.
Let me check real quick. Texas Tech played Oregon State.
That's who it was. I remember. They didn't play anybody. I thought they played somebody.
But like, if Texas goes ahead of Notre Dame,
yes,
and Texas A&M goes ahead of Indiana, I think that kind of starts to change the mindset because Texas A&M's strength of record and all that stuff is better than Ohio State and Indiana.
Yep.
So if they start to move up, I think that narrative changes a little bit. But if it doesn't, then I'm prepared to burn this MFer down because like that's the whole reason that all these teams are doing this is because they said that's what they're.
That's what they said. That's what they wanted.
Yeah.
With you. They kept saying that no, guys, you got to go play these games. Oh, by the way, we were only looking at wins and losses because we at the time we thought we were gonna have more free time to actually watch these games. But then it turns out we didn't, and so we're just not doing our job. So we watched like 3 games a week. It's a lot. So we know for college football. All right, a couple more. This one is an interesting one that I've seen people start to freak out a little bit more. This one comes from the fact that schools are now really trying to fight off buyouts. We're seeing the Brian Kelly thing, and teams are like, we do not want to have these crazy buyouts because we understand our fan bases want us to fire a coach every 3 years, and we're fine doing that, but we don't have to pay them $70 million to do it. So the thought is the transfer portal window will be chaos this year, with many teams not having coaches yet because they will not be able to sign a coach without a buyout, and they don't want to sign coaches without buyouts. That you're going to have several teams that are bigger schools not have a coach by January, and the transfer portal will become chaos with people trying to run them that aren't head coaches.
Yeah, probably. That's probably what's going to happen. I think it's really hard to get out of that situation with the current state of where things are now, because like I don't know if LSU is going to have a coach by January, because every single coach that they're looking at, in my opinion, unless they go after like Dabo Sweeney or something, is going to be in the playoff, and they're going to be coaching their team, and they're going to miss the portal window. And that's the same for that. I don't necessarily think that's going to be the same for Auburn or for Florida. Actually, it is probably for Florida, because they really want Lane Kiffin.
Penn State could be in that situation.
Yeah.
And again, if they don't want to sign a contract that says, if we fire you for cause, or we fire you for whatever reason in the next, 4 years of your contract, we owe you, all of the rest of the contract. And in reality, it's not the original contracts that are the worst thing in the world. It's the buyouts. It's the extensions that kill you. But I think that there's a flip on that of people are so mad about that right now. Why is this guy getting $50 million to fail? And you're like, because that's how contracts work. By the way, this happens in the business sector, and they're called golden parachutes, and people get them all the time, and they suck. But if a guy can make a company lose $100 million, he will also get $5 million to go away. It happens all the time. It's terrible, but it's how you get big name players in any business. It's not just football. It's any business.
Well, if this thing goes the way that I think it's going to go, I think that Vanderbilt's not going to make the playoff. And I think that Penn State, this is just me thinking about who I think would be the best fit. I don't think Missouri is going to make the playoff. So I think that Florida and Penn State and Auburn are all going to have their coaches before the transfer portal window. I think LSU is going to be the one that's left getting screwed because they waited too long.
And the real reason I think it'll be chaos is, for me, is I think if there's not a head of the ship, you're going to see boosters get involved.
Mm-hmm.
And that is bad news. When boosters are starting to call up players and go, I'm not affiliated with LSU. I can call up every single player in the Big Ten and tell them I'm going to sign somebody, because I have no morals. I have no worry about this. All I care about is winning. I don't care about these kids. And so I'm going to go out there and start calling kids up and go, we'll offer you $2 million to come here. And then I'm going to call 7 kids and tell them that. And then the first kid who says yes gets $2 million, and the rest of them just enter the portal.
Yeah. Lane Kiffin kind of talked about this with Winston Watkins. Like, he had a big game against Georgia, and all of a sudden he's getting calls from people about like, hey, you should come here for $1 million.
Yeah.
It's like that stuff's going to continue to happen. It's going to make it crazy. It's going to drive me insane.
Final one for college football here, Matt. Georgia has flipped the switch against Mississippi State. I've heard this multiple times, that Georgia has now flipped the switch. And it is irrelevant what Texas does come Saturday. Georgia's flipped the switch. They are winning out. They're going to the playoffs, and it's going to take a while for somebody to figure out how to beat this team now.
I think that's an overreaction.
Okay. I do too.
I don't think that Mississippi State is a barometer for flipping a switch. And I know they gave Texas trouble, and I know they've given some other teams trouble, but that's nothing to me. I think that if they come out and they dominate Texas, then you can say they flipped the switch.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you on that one. I've just heard that one a few times as well, looking into some Georgia previews and stuff like that. Everyone's like, ooh, this Georgia team. And you're like, have you not watched this season? We've seen like 20 flip the switch moments this season. And then the next week, it's the same thing again. Like, sometimes matchups work really well and everything looks good. And then you just go, like, if Texas had not, I'll say not even had injuries, but just not allowed Vanderbilt to like if they had let Vanderbilt score once at the end of the game and not 3 times or whatever it was, then everyone would be like, Texas flipped the switch. They flipped the switch. They got there. So I think it's somewhat silly. It's somewhat silly to me. Let's do some NFL ones real quick, Matt. This one's, a little sad, but it is the Cowboys will respond to tragedy with renewed focus to make an actual run for the playoffs. That this is something that you hear is, these are things that solidify teams. These are things that take a team and can make them play at a higher level than they've been playing. And this could be a thing for the Cowboys that gets them in the right mindset, kind of out of all the Jerry Jones BS and into a mindset of like, let's go play. I didn't even throw in there because I think it's disrespectful to say make a run for anything big. Said make a actual run for the playoffs is what I put in.
I mean, I hope that's the case for the sake of Marshawn Nealon. I don't know. I mean, maybe. I think if the Cowboys do have a turnaround, it's going to be more that they are getting DeMarvion Overshown and Malik Hooker and Siobhan Ravel back and
adding
whatever. Because and adding Quinn Williams and Logan Wilson. Like, I don't know that the Cowboys' chemistry in their locker room is something that I don't know. I don't really know how to answer this. I'm gonna say I hope so.
Okay. All right. We'll go with that one. All right. After the Bills have lost to the Dolphins, a team that looked like they probably should have added something in the trade deadline, the Bills missed their window. They should have added somebody. They do not have a complete enough team. They are not really in the playoff picture. They're not in the Super Bowl picture anymore because they just continuously not show up for the games they should show up for.
I think it's an overreaction. I still think they're a top 3 team in the NFL. They just had a bad game. I think Mike McDaniel is probably coaching for his life right now. So that's probably played a role in it. But teams have letdowns, and it's the NFL. It's not college football. Their season's not over. They'll get refocused and they'll be fine. I think they're still the best team in the AFC.
All right. How about this one? After a gigantic week in Berlin, Jonathan Taylor should win the MVP. Open parentheses, screw quarterbacks, close parentheses.
I think he should be a candidate for sure. I think the person who should win the MVP
is your old high school buddy. We all know who you think should win an MVP.
He's playing his best football at 37 years old.
I think he's definitely the front runner for the MVP right now.
And he should be. He's playing unbelievable. Yeah. Particularly for my fantasy football team. Thank you so much because you saved my ass this week. But if Jonathan Taylor isn't at least considered, then I think that this award is a sham.
Yeah, it's a quarterback award. Just call it the best quarterback award. Stop calling it the MVP. If another player cannot win it, I'm with you. I think you should definitely be considered for it at this point to get rid of that ethos, because you look at it and you go, is it Daniel Jones? Is Daniel Jones really the MVP who's making this Indianapolis team that we all thought was going to be 3rd or possibly 4th in the AFC South? Is he the guy, or is it maybe the running back who started the whole we're not going to pay running backs thing because the Colts didn't want to pay him? And now you get a different owner, and now everything's clicking, and they're playing much better football, and everything seems to be working. And Jonathan Taylor is a big, big piece of that, and the threat of him being able to do things. I think he has to be involved in that conversation.
Who won MVP last year?
What's that?
Who won MVP last year? Was it Josh Allen?
Yeah, right? Josh Allen last year.
It might have been. Saquon Barkley should have won that award going away.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Tyler Shuck is the real deal for New Orleans.
Did he play well last week?
Yeah, I think they're like 2-0 with him now, and he's playing really good football.
I'm gonna say no.
No.
I mean, they won one game with him against the Panthers.
Yeah, the Panthers, man. Come on, man. That's a big game.
Yeah, sure. He's the real deal.
All right. What about this one? The New York Giants job is now the best job to get in the NFL. It'll be the best open job in the NFL. Brian Daboll got fired this week, and there's a lot of talk about it because they're like, well, look at what's happening. And everyone's hurt, so you can't really blame him for this season because they were playing as well, but then Scatterbo got hurt, and Blake Neighbors is hurt, but we've seen Thibodeau play as well as he's played. Jackson Dart is playing well. It feels like you have some guys that are going to start building this team up into what they need to be and start to be something. So maybe now that the Giants are starting to look like they're on the other side, they're going to keep their general manager as well because the Jackson Dart thing and Scatterbo really is why he's going to keep his job. That he's picked some good players over the last couple of years. And I think the fact that Jane Daniels is not being great this year is helping him out a little bit too, because that one really killed him last year. But that Giants job, it's a big-time city. It's a big-time place. But now that Brian Daboll is out, that is the job to get if you are going for a job in the NFL.
Well, I think that Lane Kiffin's already the betting favorite to take the New York Giants job.
Every job.
He's also the betting favorite to replace the Pope after he moves on.
I think Diana Rossini reported that Sark wants that job though.
Oh, okay, yeah. And
I mean, her fact was that every head coach should want that job. So Sark wants it.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, there you go. I also think that Lane Kiffin is the betting favorite for when Manchester City moves on from Pep Guardiola in the Premier League. If it was any other franchise, like if you took that same roster and then like put it in Miami or Tennessee or somewhere else, I would say yes. But it's the Giants. I don't believe that they're going to be able to figure things out enough. I don't think they should have fired Brian Daboll. But, sure. Let's just go figure out something later, and it's going to work out great. If I'm them, I hire Joe Brady to be my head coach.
You can't hire another Buffalo Bills offensive coordinator, though.
That's what the Giants would do.
It's just, man, it worked last time. He was awful for a while, so we'll go get another guy to get it. I like Joe Brady a lot, but I think it's hard to hire the same thing twice, and they're not the same coordinator. But I mean, by the way, the Bills did say that they're fine with Joe Brady. They back Joe Brady because Brian Daboll is now available, and we know Brian Daboll had a ton of success with the Bills as well, which got him a head coaching job. But that would be interesting if they hire Joe Brady and New York. And so then they're like, well, we got to hire somebody. So let's go bring Brian Daboll back. And then we'll be, we'll just trade him. We'll trade those positions. All right. Last one here for you, Matt. The Texans defense is good enough to get them back in the playoff hunt. The Texans coming back against Jacksonville, man. That game was like dead and done in the water. This was like the Mississippi State game. You were like, game's over. Texans suck. The offense is garbage. Nothing's going to work. Davis Mills is, maybe with CJ Stroud, we'd have a shot in this one. And then they just start rattling off. I think it was 28 unanswered, including or 26 unanswered, maybe was where we're at. 26 points in the fourth quarter for Houston to win 36-29. Now, 6 of those points were on a strip fumble touchdown return with 0 seconds left on the clock. So that was the last play of it. It was 30-29, but basically you had 20 straight points to come back from down 9 or coming down 10-29 going into the fourth quarter. They came back and won the game, completely shut down Jacksonville team in the game and came back. And you just go like, is this defense, can they make the big plays? And he's nope, he's out. He won't do it. Is that an overreaction, Matt, that this defense could keep them in the hunt?
Yes, it's an overreaction because this offense can't do anything against a competent team.
I mean,
like,
come on, man. Come on.
At what point are we just like, oh, Jacksonville was just Jacksonville, and that's why the Texans won?
Come on, man. You're supposed to give me a little bit more.
I want to give you hope, Patrick. I really do. I really, really do. But until Mike McDaniel is calling plays there, I'm just not going to buy it.
There was some overreactions. If you still have any you want to go with, throw those in the chat. Throw those into the text line. Chan says the Texans game was fixed. It was rigged. No, Chan. Come on. That was the Texans and their great team playing. Davis Mills led a comeback. That's what happened in that one. Last night, we did see the Packers also, Matt, lose to the Eagles 7-10, and what a boring game of football there. This Eagles team continues to win boring, terrible games, and I have zero faith in a 7-2 Eagles team. None, zero, nothing, not an ounce of faith in this Eagles team. Then the Packers, once again, trying to do everything in offense, can't get the offense going. Matt LaFleur starting to get a ton of questions about what's happening with this offense for the Packers. Let's start with the Eagles. Is this Eagles team still like, are they legit, or is this like, are they clearly just so much more talented than so many other teams that they're skating by with a coach who's not very good and they missed on coordinators again?
I think that's probably the case. I think they just missed out on coordinators and they're skating by. I don't believe in them at all. They haven't really beaten anybody since they beat the Rams in I think it was, I guess they beat the Buccaneers, but like the last few weeks they've beaten like the Carson Wentz Vikings. They lost to the Giants, then they beat the Giants, and now the Packers without Matthew Golden. And I mean, I know he's not like a huge factor, but they just didn't have anything going offensively. I think they remind me a lot of last year's Chiefs team, that they just kept skating by and skating by and skating by. So I think that when, you know, we get to, well, this weekend when they play the Lions, I think they're going to get run through.
Who do you believe in more right now? A 7-2 Eagles who just keep winning, or an 8-2 Broncos who keep winning, but all of their games are dog ugly too. They're just all bad. Like, they're not really playing good offensively. Both have good defensive coordinators. Both are playing well defensively, but offensively are just awful for so much of these games. And then somehow pulling out wins. Which one do you think is better right now?
I'm going to say the Broncos because I think they have a better head coach. I think they have a better quarterback.
Okay. All right. And the Packers now 5-3-1. Really should be an 8-win team, like a 7-8 win team right now. And they just keep blowing these games that they're just not able to get it done. At what point do you start to have more questions for Jordan Love? Do you start to have more questions for Matt LaFleur? Or is this just kind of not like, it's just not clicking, but it'll be there. It'll be there eventually. Is there any faith in this Packers team anymore? Or because I know we had it at one point, but now it feels like it's starting to disappear.
I think they should be undefeated right now. So the fact that they've lost 3 and tied another one really gives me questions about Jordan Love specifically for those 3 losses. Because, I mean, you've lost those 3 games by a combined 9 points. Am I look? Yeah, 9 points. And then you let the Cowboys eke one out. Like, they should be better offensively. And I thought Matthew Golden was going to be more of a factor this year than he is right now. I mean, obviously he's hurt right now, but like throughout the entire season, I think they just need to add more weapons to that offense. They just don't have enough. And now that Tucker Kraft is out for the season, it gets even more difficult. So
I agree. All right. Why don't we take our second break here, Matt? We'll come back. We'll wrap up the show here on a Tuesday. We'll kind of get what we think is going to happen tonight in just about 10 minutes with the college football playoff predictions. I'll get Matt's to believe what he thinks will happen, and then we'll see how true that is. Also, remember, fade Matt. So whatever happens will be the difference. We'll do that in just about 2.5 minutes and wrap things up here on Open Gym on Texas Sports Unfiltered.
Hi, I'm Dan Covert with my wife Hayden. Welcome to Covert BK.
Our newest location in the gorgeous Hill Country includes Buick, GMC, Cadillac, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, and hundreds of pre-owned and certified vehicles for you to choose from. We have 3 service departments that are ready to take care of your car, truck, or SUV with 86 service bays to accommodate any repair and get you in and out quickly. Come visit us today to select the vehicle you've been dreaming about.
Covert, born and raised in Austin.
Hi, this is Tom McKay, owner of Audiovisual Consultations, and we'd like to take a moment to thank all of our clients for making the last 37 years both fun and fruitful. If you haven't yet, I'd like to invite you to give us a try for all your home electronics needs. There's no need to leave your home to find great pricing and incomparable service. No traffic, inexperienced sales geeks, or pushy showroom tactics. We come to you. So just relax, hug your kids, and smile. We handle all the work. Just give us a call at 255-8678 or online at avconsultations.com.
Say hello to Jason and the gang over at Relax the Back. They embrace a holistic approach for a healthier lifestyle based on 35 years, folks, of proven expertise, and my back couldn't be happier. Their motto is live wellness, and folks, they can transform your routine, your daily routine, into something very, very special if you have back pain. If you're struggling with thoracic problems, if you got hip problems, if you got lumbar problems, please go over to one of their stores. They got 2 great locations, and find out a chair or a recliner or a sofa that's going to fit you and going to make your life a whole lot better. I've got this office chair right here that I've been sitting in for years, and I love it. 2 locations, folks, at the Hill Country Gallery across from Whole Foods, and in North Austin at the Gateway Shopping Center across from the Container Store. Live pain-free like the Buck and Relax the Back.
SendTexTickets.com. If you're in the market for tickets to any sporting event, any concert, any Broadway show, anything live coming to town, you got to head over to SendTexTickets.com. The best seats to all of the biggest events, not just here in Austin, but all over the state and all over the country as well. It's so easy to use. Just log on your phone or computer to SendTexTickets.com. All of their tickets are 100% guaranteed, and they will be delivered right to your phone or computer. So simple to use, and you're also helping to support a local business every time you shop. SendTexTickets.com. So if you want to be at the biggest events in sports and entertainment, there's only one place to go. It's SendTexTickets.com.
Back here on Open Gym on Texas Sports Unfiltered, wrapping it up on a Monday afternoon as we get closer to the college football playoff polls. Week 2 coming out. Matt, I'm curious if you believe that they will stick to their guns and kind of have the same, model of, Notre Dame ahead of Texas. Texas had a bye week, so it's easier to not put Texas above them. That may be easier. In Oklahoma, though, Oklahoma gets in their win. Did they move up anywhere? They make any moves, you think, based on the overwhelming feedback, I should say. So the A&M not being above Indiana and Ohio State, and Notre Dame being ahead of Texas and Oklahoma. Do you think they make any changes to that? Or they're like, well, if we do that, then they know we're caving to public pressure. Or they go, hey, man, they had good ideas there. I believe in their takes, and we should listen to what they do. Do you think those things change much, or are they waiting another week, especially in Texas' case, to say, well, they played Georgia. All we have to do is wait one more week, and that becomes not a problem for us anymore.
I don't think that you're necessarily going to see it with Texas. I do think you'll see some movement based on the results of the weekend, so they don't necessarily have to sit there and say that it was a, public pressure that caved it, because I think Texas will be at 10. I think Notre Dame will be at 9. I don't want Texas Tech to move ahead of Ole Miss, but I think they probably will, and I think Texas A&M will move ahead of Indiana, because Texas Tech got a huge dominant win over a top 10 team, even though I think that BYU team is a fraud. And Texas A&M overwhelmed a top 25 team, while Indiana almost got beat by a team that might not make a bowl game. So there'll be excuses for the movement this week that I think will prevent any sort of, bias things from coming along. especially when you consider the fact that one of those teams, some of that movement will be a Big 12 team potentially moving above an SEC team. So I'm just going to go ahead and give you my predictions for tonight.
Okay. Yeah, do it.
If you'd like me to. This is the bracket. This isn't just 1 through 12. This is what I think with the ACC and the group of 5.
Yeah. Here we go. Yeah.
I think Ohio State's going to be number 1.
Okay.
Texas A&M number 2. Indiana number 3. Alabama, Georgia at number 4, number 5. I originally had Ole Miss at number 6. I think Texas Tech's probably going to jump them now. It'd be number 6. Ole Miss will be number 7. Oregon will be number 8. Notre Dame number 9. Texas 10. Georgia Tech will be the ACC representative at number 11. And North Texas, I hope, will be the number 12 team. But I think it's probably going to be like USF, maybe James Madison. Which would mean in that scenario that Georgia would play North Texas in round 1. Texas Tech would play Georgia Tech. Ole Miss would play Texas, and Oregon would play Notre Dame. Now, if they don't flip Ole Miss and Texas Tech, it would be Texas versus Texas Tech in round 1.
Oh, beautiful.
With the winner playing Texas A&M.
Can we throw North Texas in there somewhere? Really put them all together. We'll put Georgia versus Georgia Tech again in the playoffs. We'll just put all the teams. You got to win your own state first.
Georgia would beat North Texas 77-0.
Well, we know that. It's always going to be that case. It's always going to be that. All right, we'll see if that's the key. I think Indiana's still ranked ahead of A&M. I think they don't change hardly anything. I do think Texas Tech jumps Ole Miss because it's going to be their whole look. Texas Tech played a real team this week, and you didn't. You played Citadel, and you're like, but we scheduled a real team in non-conference. They didn't have any teams in non-conference. They played Oregon State. So what do you like? They didn't also schedule good teams. But I could see that'll be their argument of you're supposed to schedule good non-conference teams will be their excuse. But I do think I predict that Indiana will still be number 2. I don't think it's right. I think it's wrong, but I believe that it could be that. And I could see Oklahoma jumping Texas this week as well.
If that happens, then the whole thing is dog food.
That's why I'm saying I think they're going to be wrong. Is what I'm predicting. I'm hoping that I am wrong.
What I'm really looking forward to tomorrow, Patrick, is coming on this show and screaming about the College Football Playoff Committee, like completely screwing this thing up, because I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I enjoyed complaining last week. Eddie, no need to apologize. We appreciate you joining and hanging out with us here on Texas Sports Unfiltered always. So we appreciate everybody joining in on the show on the chat. No need to apologize unless you're saying crazy, unhinged things. Then you need to apologize. We do have a meathead of the day real quick. There's only one person can be meathead of the day on a glorious day like today, Matt. So you know who the meathead of the day is.
Thing for me to do is do nothing, and everyone would praise me for doing nothing. But we really believe in it, and time will tell if I'm right.
You said it.
I mean, there's no one else it could be, right, Matt?
Time told.
Time did tell.
Time told.
Time did tell that it did not work out, and everyone hates you.
Everyone hates you. You deserve to be hated. You are a charlatan. You are a piece of trash, and I hope you never get another GM job again. I hope you never work in the NBA again. You're a horrible, horrible human being, and you're a selfish son of a bitch.
You know who's going to hire him? ESPN is definitely going to hire him, because you know what ESPN likes more than anything else? Idiots. That's him.
Yeah. He's gonna have he's gonna have a show with Skip Bayless and Ryan Clark.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. And Eddie, you can't call us meatheads. We're not the meatheads here. We're gonna get out of here. We'll be back tomorrow. Brooks Austin joins the show. Looking forward to that. Talk more Texas and Georgia. breaking down some good football this week as we get closer to a really, really big game. We'll get to all that, but until then, be kind, be safe, keep your underwear clean. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.